Welcome everybody, this is Brothermutant here. Today we're going to continue our quest to find the perfect Eldritch Scion build, which doesn't exist, so just travel on to some other channel. No, I'm just kidding. But we have a good one here for you. This is actually going to be the Serpentine Bloodline build. It's a strength-based build. It's a little different, so I want to get into it and show you why. And I say different because we're not going to do Corn against Smash, even though it really kind of lends itself to it. Only part ways, and let me explain why. One, where you don't get a lot in the way of strength. We have to invest in it ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that. We can still eke out a decent Corn against Smash build that way. Also, beautifully, and I totally unbeknownst to me, because we went half orc, we actually get a bonus to intimidate checks, which I didn't even know was a thing. So that's actually even better for a Corn against Smash build. Again, a plus. You throw in something like intimidating prowess, so that your strength, it gets added to your charisma bonus for those Corn against Smash freak out moves that you're going to do. Again, could definitely be a solid contender. Now, would I do that? No, I do half work and go either demon, the abyssal bloodline, or make a Draconic / dragon disciple hybrid, and again still go half orc because of the intimidating bonus. It's amazing. You've seen that a billion times before. There's no reason to rehash something you've already seen, so I decided to try something different. Notice, of course, we get, just like a human, to put a +2 in any stat we want. No penalty anywhere else. That's awesome. We also, like a human, get skilled, and therefore an extra skill point at every level. So again, easier for us to level up some skills if we so choose, which will be important later, as you'll see. Orc weapon familiarity, so anything that's an orc weapon, we can swing it just like it's a martial weapon, and since we have martial weapon proficiency, that means any orc weapon we can use. Now sadly, as cool as that sounded, most of the ones are two-handers. And again, I'm not saying you can't use them, but if you really want to be the magus, as you guys know, you need one hand free to summon your spell, buff your weapon, and then swing with your weapon multiple times. You sadly will not be able to do that with an orc two-hander. You can buff the weapon and swing with the weapon, nothing wrong with that, but then you're done. That's your combat round. So make sure you want to do it. Otherwise, we're going to stick to something like a scimitar. Now, do you have to go scimitar? No. This build doesn't even have weapon focus in scimitar, so you don't have to do anything. Be a rapier person. Use a kukri. All good viable options. It's a strength-based build, so that means any melee weapon you can pick up, you can use effectively. So that's still fine. But I like the high crit range, and scimitar is one of the only ones of those high crit range ones that are not weapon finessable, so they don't get a whole lot of love. So I figured, what the hell, let's make a scimitar build, and that's what we're going for here as part of it. Of course, we also have orc ferocity. I don't particularly care. May save your butt, may not do a goddamn thing the entire time you play the game, but it's there, I guess. It's free, whatever, you're gonna take it. Remember, unlike a human, we don't get a free feat at level 1, so we do get some extras though that kind of compensate for that, and I'm actually kind of okay with that. We went strength 18, dex 13, 10 on con, 12 on intelligence, more for that later, wisdom 10, 16 for charisma, and sadly that's as high as my charisma is going to go without gear or enchantments of any kind. It's not a caster build by any stretch of the imagination. Not that you're not going to have spells, and not that the spells aren't going to be awesome, just saying that we're really not focusing on high DC checks for everything, or as many possible spells as I can muster. We'll still land okay. It's more about swinging hard and being protected while you do it. But again, more on that later. The reason for dex versus con, for those of you that are specifically curious, because again, strength-based build, you're going to be wearing plate armor, right? As soon as I can, you better believe it. So why even invest in dex? It's because things of this. I wanted dodge, and you aren't going to have race spells, and you will use a bow or a crossbow or something at some point. Why not be able to at least have a better chance to hit? I'm just saying, it's definitely helpful. It's not amazing, and again, we'll put 1 point in it to get it to 14 as soon as possible. Again, more armor for you early on while you're wearing that crappy light armor. It'll even be helpful when you're wearing medium armor. Once you get to heavy armor, it's going to be kind of lackluster at that point, but it'll still help for your ranged attacks, so feel free to change it if you feel. But I did like the idea of getting dodge early and a little armor bump besides. From there, let's show you what the class offers before we start the leveling process, okay? We have Serpent Fangs. Could care less. Don't even think about it. I'm just kidding. It's not bad. You can only use it for a number of rounds a day equal to 3 plus your charisma modifier. So that in our case is 6, and it's never going to get much better than that. Interestingly, once you get to level 20, you can actually use it infinitely. So that's awesome. And the poison damage can be changed to suit your needs. It can damage either con, which is the normal poison, or strength, dex, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Any one of those, just one. So it's a toggle. They'll give you 6 different toggles. Kind of weird in that when you attack with it, and this is why I really don't like it, you attack, because you'll have 3 attacks by this point, and then you'll attack with your bite. Now, if it hits, great. If it doesn't, that sucks. It's a massive penalty to the swing, just so we're clear, because it's a secondary attack. So it's another reason I don't like it. But also, after you activate the toggle, in this case, at level 20, let's say you want to poison their intelligence. Once you do the bite move, whether you win or lose or nothing, it shuts the toggle off, which is infuriatingly stupid. So you have to constantly reapply it every combat round. And it's just like, I don't care enough to constantly want to keep clicking that stupid ass button. So feel free to say something to the devs, because Brothermutant says so. But it's okay. And I shouldn't complain so much about it, because it is a free attack, especially at level 1. A free attack, even at a massive penalty, if it hits even once, it's done its job. So, you know, like I said, I'll turn it on, forget that I turned it on, and by the time that the 6 rounds are up, again, if it hits something, great. If not, I don't care. They also give us this ability, Serpentine Bloodline. This one's a little weird in that it's supposed to take mind-affecting spells or language-dependent spells. Think of your hideous laughter spell. And what should normally affect only humanoids can now work on animals, magical beasts, monstrous humanoids, or even vermin. Now, sadly, this doesn't seem to work for me. Now, maybe it's because I'm in the tenebrous depths, and they seem to be immune to shit that they shouldn't be immune to. Maybe that's the thing. So if this works as intended, feel free to post that down below. That's good information. If that does work in the normal game, like it should, then that could mean you could go a route like Enchanter or Illusionist, or both. You know, kind of subspecialize in both of those things. That's not the worst thing ever. But because it's not working right now for me in Tenebrous Depths, I've decided not to go that route. But it is an option. Notice the last thing they give you for free is class skill in stealth, which means it's got a little green check mark on it, which means you put 1 point in stealth. Instead of getting a +1 to it, it's a +4. You get extra 3 points just once. So that's something. You're not normally a stealther, though. That doesn't mean you can't be. And I thought about that for a while. I'm like, yeah, maybe that's something we can come back to. We'll revisit that later. And as I was thinking about it as a leveling character up, I'm more and more got the idea that that's not the worst thing ever, especially if you're team leader. You're kind of like the scout that goes in front. Stealth, go into an area, figure out where the bad guys are positioned, know where you're going to do your spell castings, maybe even start a spell. Send in the horde of your team. Everyone stops what they're doing, says, oh, look, bad guys, and they all rush towards your team, where you're already still hidden and casting your spell, and then poof, as combat starts, something awesome for you and something bad to them happens immediately. Definitely decent battle tactics, just saying. So that's something we will actually employ. But let's look at some of the other free stuff that you get as you level up. First off, at level 9, you get something called Snakeskin, a +1 to your natural armor enhancement. You also get a +2 to your fortitudes against saves and poison. And you also get a +2, weirdly, as a bonus to your mobility checks. And all those get better at level 13 and 17 by another point each. So eventually you'll have +3 to natural armor enhancement. By the way, that's the same as like bark skin or the amulet of natural armor. So they don't stack. And while you may say, well, you know, I want the necklace of +5 natural armor, I do too, don't get me wrong, it's an amazing buff. But look at my logic here. I don't have to wear that necklace now, because I still at least have a +3, and I could use that next slot for something useful. You know, maybe I can buff my persuasion, maybe I can increase the damage of a spell, maybe I get a free spell that I normally wouldn't have because I got this kick-ass magic necklace on. So there's all kinds of options that opens itself up as a result of this, and I still didn't lose a lot of armor. I lost 2, but not 5. You see what I'm saying? Kind of cool. The fortitude save against poison is going to be amazing, don't get me wrong. Eventually we become immune to poison and even paralysis. Now that's way down at level 20, but it is there. But again, the bonuses are bonuses. Who's going to complain about that? Well, I am, because here's a free spell they give you that makes you immune to poison as long as you just remember to cast it on yourself. So that bonus is useless. Well, okay, it's not, because again, we do run out of spells. So, or forget to cast them, or get jumped, and we don't have time to cast them. So again, it's nice that it's there, but there's better things in store for us. We'll get to that later. The mobility bonus, though, is kind of trippy, and I thought to myself, well, now that's 2 different skills that we're buffing just for going Serpentine Bloodline. You know, stealth and mobility. Kind of weird, right? And because both are dex-based, you may think, well, why didn't you go a dex-based build? I could have totally dusted off my Raycaster build and gone that route, and be pretty happy with this build for that. But again, you've seen that before. You know how to do it. I wanted to try something different. So, strength-based build that's not a corn against smash build. So, again, 2 skills that are getting a bump. Back to that, something you're not seeing here is at level 3, they don't tell you this, it just shows up, they give you the Serpent Familiar, the Viper Familiar, I should say. And that's a +3 to Persuasion, and a +2 to Perception. It's supposed to be +3, but it actually is +2, it's broken. But that's still, again, 2 more skills that you're getting bonuses to. And I thought about that and said, well, now that's 4 skills that I got increases for just being a serpent guy. Another bonus to persuasion as well for intimidate checks, thanks to me being a half orc. And I thought to myself, why not make a skill monkey? So that's part of this build. It's a strength-based character that can wield any weapon that it can wield and do it well. And it has spells besides, and it has a lot of skills to back it up, which is part of the reason for the 12 intelligence, part of the reason for being half orc. Human works too, because again, the extra skill per every level. Half orcs get it, humans get it. But wait, then there's more. After we talk about the free stuff you get for Snakeskin, notice they give you a spell-like ability called Den of Vermin. This is a summons, and that's going to be important later. I'll talk about that in a moment. But basically it's the equivalent of the Creeping Doom spell, which is why that's listed up there. Basically you summon 4 spider swarms that just like those spider swarms that you fought in that cave in chapter 1 that annoyed the fuck out of you, where you had to have a torch or some fire bombs or some AoE moves, or just be really, really good at swinging a magical weapon. Really annoying little critters. Now these ones are on your side. You can summon them only once a day. They do poison damage, which is awesome. They do some decent damage besides. And more than anything, they're just kind of like a really good distraction. They don't last long. Like, really don't last long. Like 1 minute, and that's it. Which is weird, because that's not even 1 round per caster level. That's like 1 round for every 2 caster levels. And again, a minute is kind of fudging it. I'm not even sure about that. I know it's at least 50 seconds. I know it's probably less than a minute. So it's probably like 50 something. I don't know. But it's about a minute is good enough. Basically a fight, maybe a second room if you're lucky. You happen to clean their clock and then run into the next room, they might still be there. But by and large, you can rely on it for 1 decent fight. But again, it's a summons, and then let's talk about now the free spells you get, because that's going to be important as well. Level 1 free spell, Hypnotism. An amazing spell for the level that they're giving it to you. Normally hidden behind the wall of having to pick it up at level 19, where it would be useless. We get it for free at level 3, which is amazing. Yes, you'll out-level it, but until you do, you will love it. Now, and it does take a while to cast. It's a full round to cast this shit, so it's a whole lot of oopa-jooba-dooba-dooba-dooba before you finally fire it off. But it's teammate friendly, can't hurt you, can't hurt your team, can't hurt your pests, so catch it right in the middle of battle. Perfectly fine and big, huge area of effect. And notice that the dice roll for how many hit dice it affects is 2d4, so that's a minimum of 2, a maximum of 8. Why do I say maximum like that, like it's turning me on? Because you can do maximize meta magic here, right? And that is guaranteeing that it's 8 hit dice that you can affect. Or you can empower it and have a 2 become a 3 or an 8 become a 12. Extending the use of how long it lasts you is my point. Extremely useful spell, and it's free. They give it to you. That's awesome. By the way, I tested it with this ability, and this is one of the reasons I say that this is probably broken. Tenabra steps anyway, it doesn't work right. Now, free level 2 spell, Delay Poison, like we mentioned before. Immunity to poison for 1 hour per caster level for you or anyone you cast it on. We can really employ a lot of cool tricks with this, as you know, and we will do so in this build. Very, very, very helpful, and again, a spell you normally never have access to. Then they go even further and give you a summons at level 7, the level 3 spell, Summon Monster 3. Which is badass. And again, a summons just like this is a summons, and that's going to be important here. Because of that, we can either summon a lizard, some wolves, a lot of dogs, up to you. And again, more and more and more. Just gotta love this stuff. Now, again, this is normally hidden behind the wall of level 19, free spells that you could have picked up as any other Eldritch Scion, but we get it all the way here back at level 7 where it's freaking useful finally. Then they kind of drop the ball a little bit. It's not the worst spell ever, but they give you for your free level 4 spell, Poison. It's a necromancy spell, so there's that. It's kind of weird. They do a fortitude save against it. It's a melee touch attack, so you still have to hit them, but you can do that pretty easily as a melee touch attack. You are a strength-based character. So it's easy enough to do, and it will do, if they fail, con damage for a number of rounds until they finally make the save. Now the good news is the more they fail, it's a spiraling problem for them, because their con keeps going down, their fortitude saves are harder to make because their fortitude keeps going down as a result. So you can see how I like this a little bit more than disease, but not much. Truth be told, if this was one that they would finally let you, because it's a melee touch attack, if they would let you coat your weapon with the poison, you know, properly channel it through your weapon, I don't even need to crit with it. I'm just saying, just let me cast a spell, coat my weapon, and swing, 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 where the first swing has a chance to deliver the poison. I'd probably like it more. And I know that's a stupid reason for liking it, because it's harder to hit, as you know, with your weapon than the melee touch attack. But the way it works right now is you cast a spell, you touch him on the shoulder, then you poke him with your stick. And it just seems weird to me. So it's probably that's what's holding me back. So it's not that it's the worst spell ever. It's just probably not one I'm going to use. Then they wholeheartedly redeem themselves by giving you a level 5 spell called Hold Monster. Amazing spell. For those of you that don't know, again, hidden behind the wall of level 19 access normally. This one is the bitch please. Sit your ass in the fucking corner. I'll be with you after I kill your friends. And then you and your whole team saunter over to the paralyzed son of a bitch after killing off all his buddies and decide how best to dismember the paralyzed bastard as he piddles himself. You gotta love this spell. I'm just saying. Then, if that weren't enough, they give you the spell that you knew you were going to pick anyway, a level 6 spell called Transformation, which frees you to pick other shit that you may not pick normally, and of course I will do so. That's awesome. That's a lot of cool shit. They give you 5.5 as far as my ranking is concerned out of 6 for the spells that they give you for free. That almost never happens. And again, I do like the Summons Den of Vermin. Now back to the fact that it's a summons. Because it's a summons, and so is this, and because you're immune to poison with this little doodad, and you have some spells that make poisons like Stinking Cloud, Cloud Kill, those are all conjurations, so are the summons. And I thought to myself, you know, we never really did a good conjurer build justice. Here's my chance to do one. So not only are we going to be a skill monkey, we're also going to be sub-conjurer a little bit as well. So stay tuned as I show you how we level up this little doofus. Let's go into it, shall we? Now watch this. Perception's always going up. The only time perception's not going up is the very last level. It'll take it all the way to 19. And at 20, we won't get it any because the last 3 points, like we're getting right now, I'll have to dump into use magic device or something else. Up to you, really. But this is not a solo build. Despite the fact that it's not a solo build, I'm going to show you how you can solo a little bit in Chapter 1 and maybe even a little bit in Chapter 2 to kind of give yourself a little XP to juice yourself. You'll be a little bit ahead of the team. I mean, let's face it, you're a little cooler when you're level 10 and they're level 9. You always feel like a little bit of a badass, right? And if you've ever played where you don't share the XP for whoever does the skill saves, or the skill checks, and it's not you doing the trickery or the mobility checks on the team, but your little sneak thief buddy, don't you always feel a little bad when the sneak thief buddy gets to level 6 before you get to level 5? Or from level 5 to 6 and he's 6 and you're still at 5? You're kind of like, what the hell? I'm the captain. Why the hell is he level 6? It's because he got all that trickery stuff. Well, now you have the potential to do that. It's not amazing, I'll grant you. But if you can't do it, give it to him or her and let them get the XP. But scum save the shit out of that. See if you can buff yourself with bardic inspirations. Maybe you have a cat's grace spell or potion you can use to buff your agility or your dexterity so that these stats get a little bit higher. Maybe you can use heroism or greater heroism for your effect. Again, if you clearly can't pass it or just don't want to deal with the fiddly bits of it, give it to the expert. Let the expert get the XP at least so you can get what's inside. That's fine. But any chance you can to pass an athletics, mobility, or trickery check, if you can do it and you can select just your character to do it, you should do so, in my opinion. And by doing this, it allows you to solo, not this level, but by level 3, I'd say. Maybe level 4. Now here, I got Shocking Grasp and Shield. Our spells are going to be reasonably typical. The touch attacks, the buffs, blur, mirror image, blah, blah, blah. But remember, you're our strength case character. Do not, repeat after me, do not pick reduced person. Yes, it's amazing for armor. It's great on a dex-based build. You ain't a dex-based character. You're a strength-based character, and a -2 to your strength is a bad thing. You don't want it. You could convince me that enlarged person is okay. Normally I'd say it sucks. I still say it sucks. But at least you can do more damage with it, and your weapon would reach farther. So it's okay. I'm not going to pick it. But you know my love for Reduced Person. For me to say you're not getting it, I better believe it. You're going to get Magic Missile though, because almost like Fireball, like any real arcane caster, if you ain't casting a Magic Missile and or a Fireball in a fight, the hell you doing, man? Come on. So Magic Missile, you're going to take it. Keep going. From there, Perception always up. Trickery almost always up, and if we can get it to catch up to Perception, we will. But we want to unlock all the stuff we want to unlock. Athletics will never get more than 1 point, just so we're clear. Oh, that sucks. Nothing I can do about that. But everything that I've invested in right now, you're going to take to at least 10 points. With the exception then of Perception, which again, as I said already, is going to go to 19. That's because of our Skill Monkey status and on all the feats we're going to get that are going to buff Use Magic Device, Persuasion, Perception, Trickery, Stealth, Mobility. We're going to capitalize on that. Now sadly that means nothing for Knowledge, nothing for Lore. You was a stupid person. Nothing I can do about that. However, bring yourself the Bard. The Bard's smart. They know all kinds of shit with their Bardic knowledge. Make sure they invest in that shit too. Or someone else does. Someone on the team's going to be there. Remember, this is not a solo build. You can take it solo sometimes. Most times you got the teammates with you. I'm just buffing the stuff that I know are going to be the checks that you're going to want to pass. From here, anytime I get two like this, I always take the second one. The reason for this is if not just because I care about these, it's actually the Magus feats that I worry about. These are less inclusive than what you have here. There's less choices in this list than there are in this list, and they both show up at the same time. So I pick something from here and say, oh, I always wanted this. Oh, it's not available. Okay, I'll take Blind Fight or whatever. And then I'll be like, oh, I have another pick. Oh, I wonder if that thing I was looking for is in, oh, here it is. Now I can pick it. See what I'm saying? That's why I do that. But in this case, Extended Magic, and again, for a very good reason, for soloing, which we'll show you in a second. Then from here, something that's all plus, no minus, Arcane Strike. If fighters could do it and get the +1 to +5 bonus, you know they'd pick it, because this is the equivalent to, or better than, Weapon Specialization and Greater Weapon Specialization, and it's for every weapon. This is amazing. So we're going to take it all the way to level 20 anyway, so we're going to get a +5 to our damage for any weapon we're shooting, wielding, whatever. It likes to shut itself off. Make sure to turn that shit back on. It's just a click of a button, no big deal, but keep it in your tray and keep an eye out for it. From here, we're going to give you a spell that will allow you to solo from level 3 to 5 in Chapter 1 reasonably easy. Expeditious Retreat. In a specific area, I'm not going to tell you where, but in a specific area for Chapter 1, this spell alone, and especially if you can extend it like we can, where you double the duration, is all you really need as long as you have a decent ranged weapon, like a Masterwork crossbow, for instance, or just saying you have a high strength stat. Masterwork composite longbow works for me. You know, you won't hit very much, your dex kind of sucks, but it would have been just as bad with the crossbow. Why not do the extra +4 damage thanks to that high 18 strength that you got? I'm just saying. The ability to literally kite in this one area is amazing. The only thing you can't outrun in that area, or the below ground area, I'm not telling you where, is, as far as I remember, the wolves. The wolves run just as fast as you do, even with Expeditious Retreat on. So don't try this on the wolves. But everybody else that's melee characters that aren't ranged, you can do this trick and just slaughter them in masses. Man, it's just retarded how easy it is to literally shoot, run away, they follow you. After a little bit, you stop. Not immediately. Run away, stop, right about the time where the combat round starts for the next combat round. Then you stop, turn, shoot immediately, and then continue to run away. If you stop, turn, pick a target, and you stand there, and they come over and bite you, stab you, whatever, you stop too soon, because that means the combat round wasn't over yet, and you have to wait for the next combat round to shoot, right? So again, you get really good at pacing it, where you're like, run a little more, all right, and stop, turn, shoot, and you'll stop. You won't shoot immediately, but you'll shoot like the briefest seconds after, and you're like, oh, perfect. Run some more, stop, turn, shoot, run some more. You'll run out of room, and if you're underground and in those tunnels, kill as many as you can, stop, turn around, run past them. Sadly, they're going to get attacks of opportunity on you. Hopefully you won't die from it. Another reason why you should probably buff up with shield, but you don't have to. You know, you'll kind of get an idea about which of these two buffs you need the most. But again, more castings of this are definitely better than splitting your spells per day with this and that. But up to you. Again, safely you use shield. Non-safely you just use Expeditious Retreat, and that way you have more castings a day of it. But you can go from 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 really easy in that area from this trick alone. And again, you can do it solo. You're wearing armor and everything else. You can do it solo. It's mind-numbingly boring, but I kind of enjoy it because again, I know that I'll be a level or two ahead of my team from just doing that, and it's totally worth it in my opinion. But again, as you feel. Notice this is where you get your Serpent Friend. Remember, that's your Persuasion bonus plus 3. That's the other you're seeing there. Notice your Perception bonus plus 2 for other. That's why I say it's broken. It's supposed to be plus 3 plus 3. Say something to the devs if you feel. If anything, just have them fix the tooltip, really. I don't care. But it is definitely not working as intended. But it's still close. And again, 2 solid buffs for just having that little bastard out. That's awesome. And again, he likes to go dormant too, so make sure you keep his toggle running. I think the buffs only work when he's out. I could be mistaken on that. If not, then just don't care about it. But I usually just leave the toggle running. Plus, I like seeing the little snake crawling on the ground. He's kind of cute. But up to you. Keep going. 1 point in dex, you'll never touch it again. But a nice little armor bump. Better chance to hit with your bow, crossbow, your ray spells. Nice little bump to mobility, trickery, and stealth as well. Gotta love it. Now, perception again, trickery again. If you wanted to get persuasion up, this is the argument I'm going to make for why I don't want you to do it. Persuasion is important, as you know. However, in chapter 1, which you're probably still at this level, probably not at least out of chapter 1 to at least level 5, probably level 6, maybe even 7 or 8, depending on how much you actually solo. So, you don't need it really yet. You've unlocked it, you have some skill in it, and remember, we got more than just this plus 7. The plus 7, right away, is coming from the 1 here, 3 more from it being a green check mark, so that's 4, then 3 more from your charisma, that's why it's plus 7. Remember, this is not counting then your little pet buddy you just got, right? Remember how much you got for that? That's 3, so now we're at plus 10. And if you're intimidating, remember, we're half orc. Intimidating, we get another plus 2, so instead of it being plus 10, it's plus 12. So we're not as bad as you think. It's not great, I'll grant you, but perception is the one that's sucking, and there ain't nothing we can do about that right now. So don't feel bad about your persuasion being a little low. Same with use magic device. This is really only for those wands and those scrolls that we really wanted to use that are not part of our class. So if it's a spell that I can use, even if I can't cast it, I can use the wand, I can use the scroll, because I am a Eldritch Scion in this case. If I wanted a cleric spell, a cure light wounds scroll to be used, then that's when use magic device gets pulled out, or a druid only spell, or a paladin spell, or you get the idea. So if it's something that as a Eldritch Scion I would have access to, not even that I have to pick it, just that it's something that I could pick at some point, I should be able to use it. This is the way I have it rationalized in my brain. We will invest in it. It's the last thing we invest in. It is the redhead stepchild of the family here. It's going to be fed last. There's nothing we can do about it. You will invest it from time to time. You'll give it a point. But really, it's not going to be until the very end that it actually gets to 10. This is the least important thing out of my list, as far as I am concerned. Again, on you. I am going to invest then, since we did perception and trickery. If mobility is the thing, remember you want those free XP points, right? You're soloing, aren't you? You're level 4. You can totally do that. Once you can get that mobility up a little bit so you can make those checks, those scum saving a little easier on yourself. Just saying. From here, you know me, gotta get my touch attack, gotta get blur. Keep going. Got perception, trickery. We got an extra point now too, so I'm gonna finally bring trickery in line with perception, so they both ding at level 10 at the same time. And that's when we'll stop the trickery. Remember, everything else goes to 10 except for perception, and of course athletics never gets touched beyond the 1 point. Nothing in knowledge, nothing in lore. Now we have an extra point to spend. Stealth is a thing. It's not that you don't want stealth, but a potion of vanish adds 20 to that stat. Yes, it doesn't add it for long, but enough for you to walk into the area to see where the bad guys are. Same with a vanish, invisibility spell, wand, scroll, whatever. Greater invis, obviously better, but again, same difference here. So I'm not too concerned about stealth. It's a lot like use magic device. It's there, I'll get to it. I still think that persuasion or mobility are probably your best bets at this point. So let's just do one more mobility, then we'll start focusing on persuasion some more. Again, reverse order. Now what are we going to pick here? Well, I'm going to actually pick Spell Focus, Conjuration, +1 DCs. And again, you may be like, we don't even have any Conjuration spells yet, do we? No, we do not. Or I don't remember getting any. But the point is, we will, and they're coming soon, and we want to have it for level 7, because here's where I'm going to get augmented summoning, because it lines up beautifully then with Summon Monster 3 when it shows up. And yes, we can use Summon Monster 3 at level 7. The other pick, again, could have been that augmented summoning now. That's a waste, because it's not going to do us any good. Might as well get something that you needed. Well, what did you needed? I know what I needed. More damage. And yes, you may be like, well, I should have got power attack before. Why? That's a penalty to your swing and a bonus to your damage. This is a bonus to your damage, period. It's clear winner here. Getting both, you definitely wanted both. I think I got them in the right order, in my opinion. Level 2 spell. You know, I'm getting myself some Scorching Ray. Gotta love that shit. Now, we're going to break from tradition on this one. Let's get that perception and trickery up now. Get a little persuasion now, because you're probably officially into chapter 2 or going to be there real soon. So again, your kingdom needs you. Feel free to get your persuasion up. From there, I'm going to break from tradition now. I'm going to actually grab Prescient Attack. Why not Enduring Blade? Well, I will get it, so don't panic. I'm actually going to get it a lot later than normal even, but we will get it. Prescient Attack, though, is vital for me for one reason only. If you're going to solo, especially in chapter 1, or sorry, especially in chapter 2, eventually you're going to come across bad guys where there's like a group of them. It's a given. And one of those, or two of those bad guys will probably be, quote unquote, the leader, or the boss, or the whatever. The dickhead is the way I'm looking at them. And they need to be dropped, now. You have no team, it's you. So, wouldn't you like to hit them more likely than not to make sure they die faster? I know I would. Prescient Attack will do that. Well, they still have armor. Not if I use ray attacks, baby. Touch attacks, remember? You gotta love them. And Prescient Attack will make sure that shit lands more often than not. Fire beams galore. You're gonna have fun. Now, I'm going to pick something that is an obvious pick. Mirror Image. Keep going. Perception, trickery, persuasion, stealth. From here, we have a pet, finally, a summons, I should say. Augmented summoning finally opened up because of our spell focus conjuration. Good opportunity for you to have a +4 to their strength and a +4 to their con, in my opinion. And again, works for anyone that you summon, whether it's just the single lizard, the 1 to 3 wolves, or the 2 to 5 dogs. I like that. They're going to hit harder, they're going to have more likely to hit, they'll have more hit points, and they'll have better fortitude saves. It's a win all around. Level 1, 2 more to pick from. And again, I am going to grab a conjuration spell now, a grease spell, amazing spell, as you know, from start to finish it's good. And we got a DC bonus to it. The last one I'm going to pick is going to be Snowball. And again, you can convince me of things like Ray of Enfeeblement's good, Enlarged Person's good, and I feel bad, I really do, that I'm not getting Ray of Enfeeblement. But I do like Snowball for a couple of things. The non-spell resistance is amazing. The fact that they take damage whether they make the save or not is amazing. It's a different kind of damage. It's ranged damage. And eventually we'll do sneak attack damage with it. And there's too many good things to pass up here. But I still like Ray of Enfeeblement. I do like Enlarged Person-ish for the strength-based build. But Snowball, Ray of Enfeeblement, Enlarged Person, that would be the order of importance for me. And then sadly I can only pick one more. So it's going to be Snowball. Level 3, you know me, I'm grabbing Vampire Touch. And you know me, I'm going to get Displacement. Oh, you don't know me, because I'm not getting it yet. I'm getting a Conjuration spell. You don't know me. Stinking Cloud is a Conjuration spell that you are immune to thanks to your Delay Poison spell that you cast on yourself. You did cast that on yourself, didn't you? I told you to do that. Brothermutant said you had to. Cast this little bad boy at the feet of every caster of the bad guys and watch them puke their guts out to where they can't cast spells, and your team will love you. Like, seriously, love you. You go in, beat them like a piñata, and then clean house for all the fighters and other jackasses that were in the way. But the clerics, the wizards, the druids, you stealth into the area. Picture it. You stealth into the area, leaving the team behind. You spot where the archers are and the other bad guys are. Oh, look, that guy's clearly a caster. Start casting Stinking Cloud, summoning your team, let them run in. Everyone sees your team and says, look, bad guys. They run to go shoot the bad guys. That's your team. Just as Stinking Cloud goes off, well, what was the casters going to do? They're not running to go shoot the bad guys. They're standing still to cast their spells, whether it's buffs or attacks or whatever. They're just standing there casting a spell. This goes off. They fail that save, and they probably will because they're standing in the cloud. They just start puking their guts out. They can't cast. Beautiful. Just gorgeous combat tactics. That's what I'm about. Now you're wearing, of course, your arcane medium armor. You got your summons now, a little buff to your Serpent Fang that I could care less about, but it's there. Now it's doing magic, it's level 7 now. What's the 7? Oh, it requires 2 successful saves to cure it. Whatever. Point is they're taking poison damage like always. Keep going. Strength now and strength forever. Trickery, perception. If you feel like you're still doing enough mobility checks to actually get some XP, maybe it's time to invest a little bit more in that. We'll still do persuasion, don't get me wrong, and use magic device will randomly get another point, but it's less of a consideration. Now, again, you may think, okay, he's going back to displacement now. No, he's not. In fact, just to cut you to the quick, displacement will be the last spell that I pick from this list. As weird as it is to say, it's not as important to me. Here's why. I'm not getting Fireball either. For those of you thinking, oh, he just wants the extra AoE damage. I have AoE damage, baby. I'm not worried about that. What am I worried about? Buffing up me, my pets, and my team. That's what. Haste spell for the win. Extra attacks for me and my monstrous doggy horde. Gotta love that shit. Extra dodge, extra attack, more reflex saves. Everyone moves faster. Release stones. Gotta love that shit. Going on. Now we finally get into some interesting stuff. Perception's up, trickery's up. Mobility's going to get a +2 bump now. Remember our snakeskin, this is where it unlocks at level 9. So I don't have to really invest in this right now. It's not to say it's not important. I'm just saying I'm getting +2 right now anyway, and I don't even have to go boop boop. So it's already going from this to even better. So something that's been lacking for a while, persuasion and use magic device, could use a little loving. Why not add points to those two? From there, reverse order, remember. Again, still not grabbing Enduring Blade. Ghost Blade's still better. Getting Enduring Blade next. Don't panic on me. But because of this, I actually do need to make an apology. I've been making a mistake because of Brilliant Energy and how amazing it actually really is. I need to explain how this works in detail. We'll do that when the build gets to 20. Because I may have been telling you something wrong all this time, and I do apologize for giving bad information. I'll show you what I mean. I finally figured it out, and it just wasn't clicking, and I finally figured it out. It's part of a tooltip, but not the tooltip you would think. But again, when we get there, I'll get there and I'll tell you. But Ghost Blade now. Then, see, level 9 is your first chance to get something that's a Smarty Pants feat. Now, you don't have to go this route. Let's just say this right now. Remember, this is my Skill Monkey build. 4 feats I'm going to get eventually from start to finish here that are skills based feats, and I'll show them to you. Stealthy's one. We're going to get this one up here right now called Persuasive. Then 2 more up here in the D category, Deft Hands and Deceitful. I'm getting all those 4 by the time we get to level 20. If you don't like this build, feel free to take those 4 feats back, and I'll show you what you should get instead. Remember, you're going to be on a team. You're probably not going to solo then. You're not doing the Corning and Smash stuff, probably, right? So, what are you going to get then for feats, Brothermutant? Go, because you're on a team, for stuff like Precise Strike. Remember that dexterity of 13? Yeah, baby. You know you want it. Outflank is amazing, as you know. Back to back is amazing, as you know. Shielded Caster is decent. You are a caster still. Why not protect yourself and your teammates from concentration checks and blah 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 blah. You get the idea. Point is, there's plenty of teamwork feats that you and your team, remember they have to have them too, They have to be standing next to you to get the benefits for you and for them. But there's a lot of really good potential then here for a teamwork friendly build. Don't feel like you have to go the skill route monkey that I'm doing. I like this one. Why did I take persuasive first though of those 4? Well, look at what bonuses you get. +2 to persuasion, which we needed anyway. A +2 to perception, which we sorely need because we have no wisdom and we have no class skill in perception. So sound like a win-win. And remember, we're constantly pumping perception, right? It'll get to 10 faster than anybody. Well, as fast as trickery anyway. So in the very next level, that +2 bonus becomes +4 for perception. So again, another win. And it's only a level away. So I figured this made the most sense early on. Up to you, the order of the 4, but to me this makes sense. Level 3 spell pick, again we're here. Now you can convince me that Fireball or Lightning Bolt are valid options here. AoE damage attack. I'm grabbing Fireball over Lightning Bolt. I can be convinced for Lightning Bolt instead because, spoiler alert, level 4, I'm going to be getting Controlled Fireball eventually. However, a lot like Magic Missile, if you're not flinging out fireballs, what kind of goddamn wizard dude are you? So Fireball is the one I'm picking. Again, Ghost Blade, Snake Skin, gotta love all that stuff. The mobility bonus, that's your Snake Skin +2 right there, baby. Perception bonus from our little pet is up to 13 now. Persuasion's rocking a solid 15 right now, and we're only at level 9 with no wisdom. Just saying. Perception being at 13 is pretty damn impressive in my opinion. Magus. Perception's now finally going to get a +4 instead of a +2. Trickery's finally done at 10, never getting another point in it. We'll get skills that buff it to be true, but that's later. From here, it's what you do. Mobility, stealth, persuasion, use magic device, what you feel. I know me, I still like my mobility, but I also like having enough stealth to make it matter. You know, Greater Invis is just around the corner. That's another 20 that you can add to that, but until that time, it is kind of nice to invest in it, at least a little bit. Level 2, gotta get yourself Glitter Dust. Now first let's backpedal for a second. So Glitter Dust could be a possibly for me. I'm getting it now because the last one I'm getting is going to be right around the time where you need it for heavy armor. I'm getting effortless armor. Why? You notice I'm passing that on Acid Arrow. Again, why? Because of effortless armor. If you wanted to convince me that Acid Arrow is worth taking, I would have to drop Glitter Dust. And I don't mind that. I like Glitter Dust for a couple reasons. 1, it has no spell resistance. 2, it makes invisible things visible for me and my team. 3, it's a conjuration spell, so for the blinding component of it, I have an increased DC check. All great things. Having said all that, I do like Acid Arrow. Yes, it's a conjuration spell, but there's no DC check, which again is a better thing, Brothermutant. Again, I agree. And there's no spell resistance. Again, I agree. And it's long. I know all these things. Point is, Acid Arrow is great, but I still like the idea of being a team player and helping my teammates out. Remember, this is not teammate friendly. Do not blind your team. Be careful with that shit. But I still think this will have more utility for me than Acid Arrow. Remember, it's lackluster damage compared to Scorching Ray. Yes, I know it's a different elemental type and longer range and blah blah blah. Point is, I really hate that I can't get it. But I have to get effortless armor. And I'm sorry, you can't convince me otherwise. You're going to be wearing full plate more likely than not. If it's not an enchanted full plate, that's a -6 penalty to your athletics, to your mobility, and your stealth. And you could totally convince me and say, oh, you could take your armor off for those athletics and mobility checks. Okay, yes, true. But not for stealth, and you're moving slower when it's on. 10 movement decrease, right? So instead of 30 feet, 20. Well, you could buff yourself with Expeditious Retreat and go 50 instead of 20. Yes, true, but 50 is not 60, and I'd rather have the speed back. So I still want effortless armor. You're not going to convince me it's not worth taking on a strength-based build that's going to be wearing probably the best armor out there. It's worth picking up. It's really that good. And again, it's a long-lasting buff. You will like it. And again, if you really must get Acid Arrow, just dump Glitter Dust. I'm totally fine with that. It took me forever to make the decision. Trust me, it kills me not to pick up such an amazing spell. Glitter Dust just has too much potential right now, so I have to go with it. Level 4, you know how I do. Dimension Door, Dragon's Breath are still staples for obvious reasons, especially since you're not the main focus of the front line of the team. Remember, you're the stealthy jackass. You're not team leader, stupid boy that, I'll draw their fire. No, that's a moron that does that shit. You're the guy that sneaks in, says, oh, I'm on the wrong side of the map. I'm on the left with the archers. I want to be on the right side over there where the casters are at. There, let's bring in my team. And as they engage, I'll be casting Dimension Door and teleporting my happy ass right next to those casters so I can just beat them like a piñata. Again, you're the smart one. You know what you're doing. You're the battle tactician. Moving on. You're a fighter. Who cares? Half fighter. Whatever. Magus. Perception's always going up, remember, except for that last level. Trickery's done. Now, the question is do you want to, like, really pump something of interest? Again, up to you. Spread it around. Is something feeling lackluster? And again, I can't really solve that problem for you. I know how I do. A little bit in everything is always probably a way to go, unless you know for sure that something's feeling lackluster. Again, reverse order. What are we going to pick here? You can pick what you want. This is actually kind of like a gimme spot. I like Blind Fight, and yes, I know what you're saying. You just picked a spell that makes invisible things visible. What the hell are you... Yeah, but I have to cast that spell and hit them with it for it to work. So Blind Fight is still useful to me. And again, I almost always have on a fighter, a frontliner anyway, Blind Fight. The ranged guys, they can kind of suck it, but by and large, Blind Fight is... Hell, I'm going to get a spell level 19 that makes this complete garbage. But until that time, I want this. To me, it's helpful. If you don't like it, grab weapon focus for rapier, scimitar, whatever weapon you're wielding. Get improved critical for the weapon you're wielding so it has that massive crit range. I'm not going to tell you what's the best choice here. I'm just telling you what I'm picking. Blind Fight works for me. I like it, and it's early enough that I think that it's a valuable choice. For this one, I'm going to pick another Brainy Trust skill feat one. Now, which one do I pick of those last three to pick? Well, remember, we just buffed Persuasion, with Persuasive, which still needs some loving. Persuasion is not at 10 points yet, so it's still kind of behind the curve. We'll see Deceitful. It's Persuasion as well, and yes, they stack. So that's another +2 to Persuasion. Damn near back to back at level 9, level 11, and look it also buffed our Trickery +4, because Trickery is already at 10 points. So that's a Trickery of 14 plus our Dexterity, so it's at 16. Does that mean we're going to pick every lock and be able to disarm every trap? No, but it does help, and again, free XP. That's why I'm going Deceitful. Level 1, last spell. Again, we already talked about it. Snowball, amazing spell. Level 4, Poison, you got free, who cares? I'm going to go, again, against type. Normally I do Stone Skin. Against type because we are a sneaker. So Greater Invis now is finally available. It's time to get it and get your sneak on. +20 to your sneak, and you move faster while you're invisible because you don't do the hunched over, I'm being all quiet now. No, you buff yourself, it puts you in sneak mode, and you just move reasonably at normal speed. Not as fast as possible because, again, when I'm expeditious retreating, I'm still not zipping across the map at no 60 when I'm invisible, but still at a healthy pace. So it's nice to have Greater Invis on. And again, just because you're not doing sneak attack damage yet doesn't mean flat-footed opponents aren't easier to hit and have a harder time hitting you. So, just saying, being invisible is helpful. You have Hold Monster, not yet. Remember, you don't get that to level 13. It's coming. But again, it's available now officially. You don't be able to cast it till level 13 because that's when you can finally cast that level spell. A slight buff to your Serpent Fang at level 11. It does now 1d4 con damage. Who cares? But it's there. Keep going. More strength, easier to hit them, more damage output, especially if I'm using power attack and a two-handed weapon. Way more damage than you think. Very, very nice. Again, Trickery's done. Perception is not. Feel free to bump what you feel, but in this case, I can probably kind of skate along on stealth. Mobility can get a bump if you feel it's needed, but I can always do Persuasion and use Magic Device a little bit. From here, gotta get Enduring Blade now. I mean, really, it's been too long to not get it. But this was definitely necessary, and I still maintain that Ghost Blade early was probably your best bet. Level 4. I'm going to grab Stone Skin now. Don't forget to pack your Diamond Dust before you go out on your travels, but honorable mention I should have mentioned before. I keep forgetting to point out spells that have the mind affecting effect. Remember our little Serpentine Bloodline Arcana buff, supposedly? Mind affecting spells now work on humanoids, as well as monstrous humanoids, as well as critters, or not critters, sorry, animals, vermin, something else that I can't remember. Supposedly. Again, it doesn't seem to work for me, and I'm not an illusionist. If you went illusionist, obviously there would be a dex-based build, in my opinion, and you would have gone gnome because of the illusion buffs. But again, if it does work, feel free to do that. There's nothing wrong with adapting the build to your liking. But I just wanted to point out to you that there is a spell in here that is a mind-affecting spell. Go to Magus. Perception's up. Oh, persuasion, stealth, and mobility. Why not? From here, this one's going to get our greater spell focus conjuration. Why now? No real reason now. I could get another brainy pants move like my stealthy or my deft hands. I'm getting them actually much later. I'm going to get superior summoning here just to break the monotony. Also because it benefits, actually, as weird as it sounds, this Den of Vermin spell-like ability. Remember I said it's a summons? Superior summoning actually does work on it. So instead of summoning 4 spider swarms, you summon 5. I would assume, I don't know this, but I would assume that augment summoning then works on it too. Why do I say assume? Because A, I can't test it, and B, I don't know that the swarms technically have a strength stat or a con stat. Maybe they do, I don't know. If they do, great. Or if they have at least one, they probably do benefit from it. Because again, it is a conjuration spell. It is a summons. It seems to buff from this. I would assume that it would buff from that as well. And of course, that will also buff my Summon Monster 3 with that superior summoning to some extent. And of course, we are going to get another summons at level 19. Don't panic. I know that's only 2 spells. I'd rather have 3 that are awesome. But greater conjuration isn't necessary here. I just want it. And again, remember, your charisma is not going up. From here, slow spell, and again, you could have convinced me to get lightning bolt instead of fireball, but I don't think you need both, so that's why slow. Teammate friendly, pet friendly, summons friendly, and therefore a debuff for the bad guys. You gotta love it. Level 5, normally I do acidic spray and cone of cold. Normally that's fine. Now I'm doing acidic spray and cloud kill. Why? Both are conjurations. Both require saving throws. Notice no spell resistance does have spell resistance, so there's differences between them. But amazing spells, and now we just got greater spell focus conjuration. We have a better DC check than ever before. It's a perfect opportunity then to up it. Another bonus to your snakeskin because you're level 13. You've unlocked that free spell now, of course, for your hold monster. That's available to you now to cast, and we're using heavy armor now, as well as a +4 to our weapon. Yes, it says we have transformation. You can't cast until level 16. Don't get all excited on me here. But snakeskin did go up, so you have a little bit more natural armor enhancement, a little more mobility, and a little more in the way of fortitude saves against poison. Keep going. Boom, boom, boom. Perception. Persuasion. Use matching device. Why not? Now, effortless armor. I already made the argument, not going to make it again. For here, cold. No. No. You're a snake guy. How can you not pick fire snake? Seriously, man? Are you even listening to me at all? Moving on. 15. Now we get our other extra summon-like ability. Bouncing persuasion finally up to 10. Calling it quits. It's done. Pretty decent. Early enough on in the game that it'll be useful to you, as you'll see. Now mobility, stealth, and use magic device, probably in that order, will be the ones that you find to be important. Again, reverse order. Bane Blade, obvious pick in my estimation. From here, we're picking that one that's not even suggested, but I'm suggesting it. It's superior summoning. An extra summon, anytime you summon more than one creature, you summon an extra one. This one you summon 4 pools of critters. Now you actually summon 5. And for here, it doesn't do shit for when you summon the lizard, but for the extra planar wolves and for the dogs, you summon an extra one of either of those. So that's helpful at least. And when we get another summons down here, it'll be helpful for that one too. Level 5. Now you can get your going to gold buddy. Again, Bane weapon, Then the vermin, summon the monster, all great stuff. Keep going. More strength, please. Yes, please. Perception, yes, please. Mobility can finally be 10. I'm cool with that, and it's done now. 4. I'm missing my controlled fireball, I think. I feel like it. Yeah, because I'm going to get that, and the last one I'm going to get is going to be Shout. Okay. Level 6. Now, you know how I am. I like my Sirocco. And normally, I would like my Hellfire Ray. Not saying not to get it now. I'm not getting it now because I do want to get Dragonkind 1, because I don't want to forget it more than anything else. But it's an amazing spell, as you know. You can still cast spells while in this form. Yes, you absorb your armor, so make sure to have a Mage Armor Potion chug before you do that. But extra attacks, breath weapon, cast spells still, bigger size, more strength, more con, lots of pluses, very little in the way of minuses. Very, very cool ability. Plus, who doesn't like being a dragon? Just saying. Keep going. Perception. Oh, stealth twice. 1 for use magic device, because why the hell not? Feat time. Okay, last combat type feat. In this case, it's kind of, again, up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm grabbing combat reflexes. I know it's late, but I do like it. I'd rather have blind fight before combat reflexes, though still, quite frankly, you have enough dexterity to still benefit from this. And of course, by now you got some magical belt of blah-de-blah that's increasing your dex as well. So you can really capitalize on this. And you are a team player, so you're standing up there in the front ranks with everybody. You will get those attacks of opportunity off. It'll be nice, you'll enjoy it. If you don't feel that, feel free to go for any other combat type thing. Weapon focus for a weapon, improve critical for a weapon. We had this argument way back here. It's more of the same. These are basically what I'm picking. You can pick as you choose. There's nothing really grounding the build where you have to have these two things, is what I'm telling you. Free feat, though, up here is going to be more of your brainy trust stuff. So now the question is, do you want deft hands, trickery / use magic device, or do you want stealthy, which is mobility / stealth? Well, I know me. I like to have extra XP from being able to disarm traps. So deft hands is the winner here, straightforward. Trickery and use magic device, which was always lounging behind anyway. I'll take a +2 to it. Trickery will go up another +4. Why do I say another? Because remember, we had Deceitful already. So trickery is looking pretty darn good for you by now. Level 3, gotta get displacement. It's ingrained into me. I have to have it. And yes, it's entirely possible that it's not needed with Greater Invis, but remember, it's a different level for spell casting. So there is that. I can cast it on someone else, which you gotta love that too. Teammate, pet, whatever. So it is helpful beyond just you. I still like to spell magic and lightning bolt, yes, but I have fireball, I don't need lightning bolt. And dispel magic, someone else can cast it. For me though, level 6, I know I'm missing my Hellfire Ray. I have to pick that shit up. Now, Snakeskin get its final buff. +3 to your natural armor enhancement. +4 to your fortitude saves against poison. And a +4 to your mobility. Which you'll see over here under other Snakeskin. That +4 right there. Not a bad mobility score for someone that really didn't invest in dex, I think. Keep going. Magus. Perception. Stealth and use magic device, why not? Now, last pick is on you. Note that I think Hasted Assault works for that she-bitch snake form. Remember I said you only get 1 attack on this thing, or if I didn't, you only get 1 attack on that thing. But haste works on it, so I would assume Hasted Assault does too. I don't care. And again, we don't have a high enough charisma to really make this last very long, so it's kind of meh. But it's there. I like maximize magic, as you know. You can convince me of quickened magic, and this is one of the rare times where I'll ever say this. Because of this, your summons, most of them anyway, are 1 full round. A full, not just, you cast it today. No, a full goddamn round of you doing nothing but and then I finally have my pet. Screw that shit. If you want it faster, quicken magic, then cast it. Or do like I do, sneak into the area, cast it when it doesn't matter because combat hasn't started, and while you're doing the whole whoopa-joopa, then you're marshaling your team, battle ensues, but shortly after battle ensues and initiative is rolled, boom, your spell goes off. So again, I can fiddle my way around it, so I don't feel like I need it, but I could see the argument here. I like maximized magic over empowered magic, not meta magic. Let's be clear. Empowered meta magic wins compared to maximized meta magic. Why? It does maybe the same damage, maybe more, probably less. However, that's the meta magic, and meta magic has to be slotted higher up. So a level 1 spell that's empowered is actually a level 3 casting. Same version of that spell that's maximized meta magic is level 4. I can think of all kinds of shit I'd rather cast at level 4 than a level 1 spell that's been maximized. So that's the clear winner because of the lesser involvement, the lesser rank or spell slot increase. That's why it wins out, in my opinion. In this case, it don't matter. Any spell I can cast 1 through 6 that can be empowered, I can empower. Or if that can be maximized, I can maximize it. So it's a mulligan as far as what to pick. You have no choice. Maximize versus empowered magic is clear winner here. Level 6. Gonna break from type. Normally I get transformation by now because, again, transformation, as you know, is awesome. We got it free. So I'm going to grab True Seeing. Remember I said I'd find something that make blind fight completely garbage? Here it is. Again, I can cast it on me or my teammates. And again, blind fight's not the same as True Seeing. It's good, it's not this good, but it is useful. So until now, at least I had blind fight. Now I have this. If I want to use it on me, great. If blind fight's still good enough for me, again, fine. Cast it on the teammate that doesn't even have blind fight, and now he or she can see the targets and have fun beating the shit out of someone that's not hidden behind blur or displacement. Again, lots of good reasons for having True Seeing. Keep going. Now we get to have some fun. Level 19. Perception's finally done. Stealth is finally done. Use magic device will be done at level 20. Last feat. Getting that stealthy one. Stealthy. Thank you. Level 5. Baleful Polymorph, I don't particularly care about. You don't need Elemental Body too, because again, you're not running solo anymore. You're on a team. You don't really need that little trick I told you about in those other videos. Vampiric Shadow Shield, on the other hand, kind of thematically makes sense. Let me give my rationale for that. Vampiric Shadow Shield feels like the snake that you step on that bites you while you're stepping on it. That's basically Vampiric Shadow Shield. You're hitting me and I'm damaging you at the same time because screw you. Thematically, it fits in my brain, and that's how I'm going to work it. Now, free spell pick time. Let's have some fun. Remember, as we go into this, a couple things. We're really good at conjuration, so +2 to the DCs of any conjuration spell. We're also really good at summonings, which you better believe we're picking up at least one of those. So let's focus on stuff like that too. Okay? Level 1, is there anything in here worth a damn? First off, let's just immediately discount Summon Monster 1 and 2. We already have 3, and it's probably lackluster at this point. Not that it doesn't have its uses. It's just not, they're not going to last very long at this level. So 1 and 2 is definitely garbage. So just discount them all together. We won't even think about them. 4, 5, and 6 are your options, of course, as a result. And of course, if you're only going to pick one, in my opinion, you're grabbing 6, because why wouldn't you grab the best of those? That's the one I'm going to get. I'm just letting you know now. But we'll look at the others just because. There's nothing though left then in level 1 that I give a rat's ass about, with a possible exception of mage armor. And quite frankly, I'd still just rather keep potions on me. They last for 1 hour anyway. Just chug a goddamn potion and call it good. This only matters again when you change into a dragonkind form or your she-bitch snake form. So again, just keep the potion or a wand or a scroll, whatever, handy. It'll last you longer than you need it. You'll be fine. Going on to level 2. You know me. I gots to get me some sense vittles. Yes, I know I'm saying it wrong. I don't care. Go and kick him right in them sense vittles too, boy. He's gonna feel it. You gotta love sneak attack damage. I don't care who you are. And yes, it's late in the build. Nothing we can do about that. It's definitely worth picking up those still. Moving on. Nothing else really here that I have to have. Couple honorable mentions of Bone Shaker, as you know. Burning Art kind of feels like a fire snake zipping through the bad guys, I guess. But again, I can't justify picking it up. Again, just a small reminder that despite our love for conjuration, we will not be picking up any pit spells. Why? Because your teammates are stupid and your pets are more stupid. So, since I can't keep my pets from falling into the pits I summon, screw that shit. Your teammates you can micromanage control, but it gets fiddly and man's it annoying. If I really wanted pit spells in general for a build, just so we're clear, it's not that the spells suck. If I wanted them, or any of them, I'd probably make a true conjurer, which means a sorcerer, go the same exact bloodline, make him a sorcerer though, purist, and I could probably solo the game where it's just me, my summons, my actual pet armada, and pit spells like this to have some serious fun. Because again, at that point, who cares if your animals fall into the pit? Because it's all about me. I'm the one that's important here. I have to survive. So screw the damn smoke folk pets that are falling into the pit. As long as they drag bad guys in with them, who cares? But I'm not going to do it on this build because it just... And even then, for the conjurer build, the only real pits I'd probably pick would be like the acidic pit and maybe like the hungry pit. I think is a pretty good one, and I think that's about all I really care about. But up to you. So we're done with level 2. Level 3 now. Honorable mention, we won't pick it, but honorable mention to heroism. Again, not as good as greater heroism. By now, someone on your team has both, and therefore just let them buff you. That's fine, which is why we're not getting either. But greater heroism we could pick. Now the argument would be, which would you rather have? Well, I know which one I'd rather have. Greater heroism. It's a bigger buff, and you get 10 hit points. However, it doesn't last as long, and heroism is a lower casting. Level 3 versus level 6. So you could see an argument for either case. Again, I can't afford either in this, as you'll see, so I'm not getting either. But definitely a good suggestion. I am, however, going to take Battering Blast. Why, Brothermutant? You suck with dexterity. Your touch attack range shit is lame sauce. Why do you even give a damn about this spell? Well, let me tell you, class. This spell is going to be awesome for a couple of reasons. One, we are going all the way to caster level 20. As such, we'll get 4 attacks in one combat round with this spell. 4 balls go out. Now, it doesn't mean all 4 will hit, but you will do 4 separate checks to see if they hit, and if they do all hit, if they do, that's 5d6 of damage per ball that smacks them in the face, of force damage, not heavily resisted. 5d6 is a lot. Now maximize that shit, and assume that all 4 hits. That's 120 points of guaranteed damage on the first combat round, let's say, that you just poop in the face with these goddamn force balls. That's pretty damn amazing. Then, yes, then, remember that spell? Sense Vittles. You can do sneak attack damage. Why? Because there's a to-hit check with these touch attacks. That's 5d6 of damage, potentially, per ball. Now, why do I say potentially? Because sometimes it doesn't work quite right. And I think the reason it doesn't work quite right is because sometimes I'm stealth versus invisible. And I would assume then if I'm invisible, it works all the time. If you're stealth, it probably works sporadically. What do I mean by sporadically? Remember, 4 attacks are going out in one combat round. I have seen it where the first ball that hit did sneak attack damage, the second ball did not. Then the third ball did. Again, I can't explain that shit, but it did just that way. I have no idea why. But if you're invisible, I'm betting dollars to donuts that you're going to sneak attack damage for all 4 hits, or every hit that hits, I should just say it that way. And if all 4 hit, that's 5d6 of damage, and then another 5d6 of sneak attack damage. That's also force damage. Now, sadly, you cannot maximize sneak attack damage. So, if I maximized it and hit all 4 times while sneak attack is applied for all balls, I'm doing guaranteed 120 points of damage for the balls that hit, then a guaranteed minimum of 5 points of force damage per ball that hits as sneak attack damage. That's another 20. So that's 140 damage minimum to a maximum of 240 for one combat round of attacking a guy with a spell that's more likely than not something he's not going to resist. That's a lot of oomph for a level 3 spell. Just saying, some people are cooler than others. It's just how you look at it. Going on for level 3 to level 4, we have summons, and I should be mentioning, of course, that there's summon elemental ability. I'm not getting any. It's not that they're bad. It doesn't benefit from superior summoning, and that's not the only reason I don't like it. They're big and they're clunky, and they will benefit from augment summoning, so they'll get more strength and more con. So it's not that, again, that they're horrible or useless. It takes a long time to summon them, as you see, another full round, so it's kind of annoying. And the fact that you only get one is just kind of like, really? Some are cool, don't get me wrong. There's definitely uses for them, but I just can't get into it. I'd rather have like summon monster. On that, we're not grabbing 4 or 5, not because they're worse than 6, they are, but because we went evil on this build, and that's actually going to be important, as you see, once we get to 6, and I want to show you something. But we're passing on that. Honorable mention to Rainbow Pattern, a mind-affecting spell. Again, not necessarily that those critters would have been immune to it anyway, but if that Serpentine Bloodline Arcana is working as intended, then it should work for these guys, because again, it's mind-affecting. And it's teammate friendly, big AoE. Basically, it's a bigger version of the other Hypnotize spell that you had. Just huge 24 HD worth of enemy debuffage. Definitely worth looking into. Again, I didn't do it. If you're an illusionist, again, here you go. Grab more illusion, baby. Nothing wrong with that. I will, however, grab Obsidian Flow. And again, before you say, but Brothermutant, Tarpool is better. I already know that. Tarpool is awesome. I tout it all the time. However, it's a level 6 casting, and I'd rather, quite frankly, cast my Sirokkos multiple times on top of the Obsidian Flow, which will do what I need it to do. Slow down the bad guy in the same amount of AoE space. It's just as good as Tarpool for that regard. It does the same amount of damage as Tarpool for that regard. Tarpool just has that ability where they fall down and get all kind of sticky and screwed over. But Obsidian Flow is good enough. And that's why I'm grabbing it here instead of at level 6 Tarpool. If I could afford both, I'd grab both. But I can't really justify it on this build. Going on, we'll come back to level 4 spells in a mo. I want to keep moving forward though, because there's a couple good ones coming up. Level 5, again, we're passing on the Elemental / Summon Monster. I love Shadow Evocation, not grabbing it sadly. Phantasmal Web, mind-affecting spell. You could affect vermin and all kinds of other weird shit with this, potentially with your Serpentine Bloodline Arcana, if it works. Again, I'm not going to test it, and I don't like it. It's an illusion spell. But, could be cool. I love Icy Prison, not grabbing it. Mind Fog, going to pass. Again, nothing on the pits. Now, I will grab Constricting Coils. Now, before you get up in arms, first let me go with my logic of, it's cool. It's a constricting spell. You're a snake man. How can you not grab Constricting Coils? I mean, come on. And it's better than Hold Monster. But Brothermutant, we already had Hold Monster. That makes Hold Monster useless. Yes, it does. Are you complaining because you just got yourself the upgraded version? You had this for many, many, many levels for free. Awesome. Now retire that shit and put in the A string. Come on. You want the better spell, don't you? I know I do. So grab Constricting Coils, enjoy it, never touch Hold Monster again. That's fine with me. Moving on. You know I have to grab Summon Monster 6. I'll tell you why in a minute, but let's look at what's available here as well. Again, Undeath to Death, amazing, pass. Tarpool's amazing, pass. Serenity's fun, pass. Phantasmal Putrefaction, illusion spell, mind-affecting spell, again awesome, potentially for your Serpentine Arcane Bloodline, pass. Greater Heroism, can't afford to get it in the build because I have something else I want to grab here. Eye Bite's decent, and thematically speaking, it's kind of cool because, you know, it's like a snake bite. Here, you can make that argument to me. Elemental Assessor's fun, I don't care. Cold Eye Strike's amazing, as you know, a very fast spell. You know I love that. Circle of Death, Cloak of Dreams, all good choices. Chains of Light, again, another paralysis spell, but it's reflex versus will. Could have some use. We can get Chain Lightning if we want to later. Same with Acid Fog, so don't even bother. But why am I grabbing this one over the other two? Now, we are evil. As such, instead of getting the Azadas, where is it at there? Let me read it. The Bralani Azadas. Those little bastards cast Lightning Bolt a fucking lot. You would think that that would be a good thing, because they're on your side. But again, if you don't have electricity protection, which I don't, I can't guarantee that my team will either, then we get hurt by that shit. Those little bastards can kill you. That's not bueno. No bueno at all. However, we're evil, right? So because we're evil, we get red caps instead. Those little bitty goat beard bastards that have the massive ass size, they're jumping around like little freaks, doing super damage, and they regenerate, by the way. So when they take damage, you'll see a little +3 flying off of them every so often. That's kind of cool. And I don't see them casting any spells. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but they seem to be little spastic monkeys on crack when it comes to doing damage. You gotta love these little bastards. And we get 1 to 3 of them +1. Remember our superior summoning? And they're stronger and have more con. Remember our augment summoning? So of course you wanted to summon spell. Then go one step further. We could also summon, because we're evil, 1 Soul Eater. Now originally I thought these were undead. They probably still are, but sadly he's not immune to the shit that the skeleton army is. And why do I say skeleton army? Because we don't have a skeleton army, Brothermutant. Remember that last spell I said we were going to come and talk about at level 4? Yeah, that's right. We're getting a skeleton army, baby. Animate dead. Give it to me. Now again, before you poo-poo it, let me just give you my rationale and why this is awesome. Okay. First, it's another set of pets out. Yes, it's not a summons, I know that. So superior summoning doesn't work. Yes, because superior summoning doesn't work, I'm going to assume, I can't test it, but I'm going to assume that augmented summoning does not work either. Again, I'm actually okay with that. I don't love it, don't get me wrong, but it's okay. Why is it okay? This one can be summoned in one standard action instead of one full round, which means it actually comes out faster than the other pets. What does that mean? That means I can cast this spell and still poke you in the face with my scimitar 3 times in one combat round. So when you get jumped and you need pets now, this is your now. This is why I can avoid getting quickened as my magic feat for that one dip when I said I'd grab maximize instead. This is why. Because I knew I was going to get this and I can just be like, nope, here's my skeleton army, and then now I'm stabbing you some more. Also, because they're undead, this is important, pay attention. They're immune to poison, diseases, I'm fairly certain, and, weirdly, cold spells. Remember our cone of cold? Picture it. We get mobbed by 2 groups of bad guys. Some from the left, some from the right. I point to my team of 5 members and say, you take the right side, me and my armada will take the left. And as they do that, Lindsay turns to me and says, what armada? As I summon my animate dead spell and bring the skeleton horde to bear down on my bad guys. And then I cast cone of cold, cone of cold, cone of cold right behind them, obliterating my side. And then as I turn to Lindsay and say, oh, you guys still fighting those dudes? Just saying, it sounds cool, right? And it definitely works. You're gonna have fun with Animate Dead. Trust me on this. You will love this spell. Moving on. We're done here. One more level. And then I can show you what you can do. 22 strength. More chances to hit. More damage, yes please. Slightly better athletic score. Still lackluster, I'll grant you that. But it's the best I can muster here. And then nothing in perception. Remember that? Because we needed all 3 to use magic device to 10. 1, 10, 10, 10, 0, 0, 0, 0, 19, 10, and 10 is what you're going to finish with. Now, caveat. There's that magic potion of awesome sauceness. I'm not going to tell you how you get it, but it's a +2 to all your stats, including your intelligence. And I have yet to get it. I know it's in game. I know I'm going to get it. However, if someone knows this, please tell me. If you get it early enough, will they let you pick more skills? If that's the case, perception's definitely going to 20, I can tell you that. What else you might get? I'd probably dip into Arcana at least, if not Arcana World, maybe a little, just to unlock all your green check marks. But that's on you, and I don't know that that works. But definitely worth looking into. Last spell picks. Level 4, gonna get shout, you know why. Sonic damage, it's the only thing that's been missing from our repertoire, really. And while Acid Fog is a maze balls and it's a conjuration spell, there's no save, no spell resistance either. A decent spell. Again, I can't protect my team from the acid, or myself even for that matter. Yes, more likely than not someone can, but I don't know that for a fact, and I like to be self-sufficient, so if I can't do it, I'm probably not going to grab it. There's other stuff in here that's awesome. Umbral Strike, as you know, is good. Greater Dispel Magic is decent. Disintegrate's decent. I like Chain Lightning, again, for that same reason I like Burning Arc, but passed on it. It feels like an electric snake biting everybody. Thematically speaking, it makes sense to me. That's all that matters. Going on, this is all your different serpent damage for your poisons. Now you have infinite use of your Serpent Fang, so they give you 6 different toggles, one for each attribute that you can poison. Up to you which one you to activate. It likes to shut itself off after each combat round though. Again, can't stand that shit. Of course we're true maggots, so we either have a +2 to our swing, yes, +2 to our DCs, which means +4 to our conjuration spells, if you need it, or +2 to spell pen, which we probably don't need because many of our conjuration spells have no spell resistance, so we really don't necessarily need that. It's not to say it's useless, but pay attention to when you think you might need it. Notice, of course, our Spirit Naga shade will show you that, and of course our immunity to poison and paralysis, as well as the infinite use of our skills, Fang ability. Now we're done. Let's go rest real quick to recharge everything, and I'm going to show you some skills that you have.
I'll go ahead.
First, let's come over here. We're going to sell off our junk. and get some good gear on. So we're not wearing this garbage. Don't need these things. And I'm not going to use rapier. Remember, you don't have to go with a scimitar. Any melee weapon is a strength-based weapon, right? I can be wielding a dagger, a club, something weapon finessable. Doesn't matter that it's not weapon finessable for me because I have a higher strength. That's fine. So just run with whichever one makes sense to you. But I like the high crit one, so obviously scimitar is the way to go. I'm going to grab a masterwork scimitar. Or am I? Yeah, I have to. Damn. Don't have enough money for the +1. It's going to be important. That's why I say that. So I am actually going to grab a scimitar +1, or masterwork scimitar, excuse me. And I'm not actually going to grab plate, like I was going to full plate. I should, but I'm not going to because it costs so damn much. I'm actually going to get, what's it called, breastplate? B. We had to breastplate. Yeah, breastplate. Why? It's not that I don't want to show you the plate mail, so I'm going to try to save money for something here. So first off, medium armor, probably the best medium armor you can find. Not counting magical medium armor, because obviously there's different versions of awesome, depending on your definition. But again, you get all your dexterity bonus. We even have room to get a dexterity belt +2 on, where you would still get the dexterity bonus, because again, max dexterity 3. We're only at +2 right now. Obviously, we'll exceed that +3. I have no doubt that you will eventually. But still decent armor. We're rocking an 8. Plate mail would have been 9 +1, so 10. So we're behind the curve, sure. But again, armor check penalty -4. Remember those skills we were talking about? Athletics is down, mobility is down, and stealth is down 4. With full plate on, it would be down 6 for each of those. And again, we have ways around that. Cast this spell. A maximum of 5 is taken back. So we get all of it back for here because this was only a -4. Full plate though, it'd still be a -1, a -1, and a -1 for stealth. That's not horrible. You get any magic plate, and now that -6 penalty drops to a -5, meaning that spell is perfect for you. Just wanted to show you that trick first. Then, going inside, now I know we're going to curb stomp the shit out of these guys, so don't be all, whoa, you're level 20, they're 1, and I know. I just want to show you some tricks. So, we have our snake bitch form. First, let's do that, so I can show you that your plate armor falls off you, technically speaking. Not falls off, gets absorbed to the body, and you don't get the bonus, is my point. So, here we go. Before you go in, a couple quick notes on combat tactics, early levels. When you're level 3 or 4 and going solo, level 3 you only have access to level 1 spells. Level 4 you finally get access to something like Blur. Okay, so combat tactics. If you use extended magic, expeditious retreat, and that's it. If that's all you put on you, you have a 6-minute, because you doubled the duration, you're a level 3 caster, right? So you doubled the duration to 6 minutes of running super fast. That's when you use that composite longbow, masterwork version, obviously, or +1 if you can find one, and just pepper the shit out of those bad guys that are melee characters only. Run away, shoot, great tactics. Now, after that, when you have to melee, you're going to do stuff like extend the magic again, shield spell. You're not going to have many chances of these things. At least now you'll have a shield spell up, and again, for 6 minutes, double the duration. So again, you run fast, and now you have shield. If you can afford it, and you're level 4, those are 8-minute buffs now, not 4-minute buffs. Then at level 4, you can also do the last one, and use the Blur. 20% chance to just straight up do miss. Those are my typical 3 buffs I like to slap on myself early levels when I use the extended magic. You don't have to do what I do, I'm just giving you my take on it. Really good running speed so I can position myself easily. Then I have a really nice armor class because of my shield spell. Also immune to magic missiles, which you know that some of those casters cast on you. Then you have a 20% chance to just straight up be missed, and that's with arrows, with melee weapons. Doesn't matter how good or bad my armor is, doesn't matter how great or weak their swinging is, they still roll a 1 to 100. If they roll 20 or less, they miss you, period. That's awesome. Just saying, really, really helpful. Now, is it amazing? No. Displacement's clearly better, I know, but point is you're still doing pretty good for yourself early on. And you got chain shirt on probably at this point. You get your +1 or +2 to your dexterity depending on if you're level 3 or 4. So that's 4 armor from chain shirt, 1 or 2 from dexterity, let's say 2. So let's say you're soloing at level 4. So that's a 6 to your armor right there. So 16 armor class. Then you've added shield spell. That's another 4. That's at 20 for armor class now. And I'm missing something. You know, the blur effect. So again, you're doing pretty good for yourself for armor at level 4. Are you swinging hard and heavy? Not really. You can buff your weapon though. Remember, you have this little ability. And this is where I have to apologize to you, because this is where I got something wrong a while ago. First, let me actually get stuff where it needs to be, because it's bugging me. Sorry guys, I have to do it. It's just looking at the tray like this is just, oh, it's burning a hole in my brain. So you put your stuff in the normal order. And again, I do this for a reason, for those of you that wonder why. One, I like to see my stuff. Here's our buffs. Power attack. Arcane strike likes to shut itself off, so reactivate as needed. She-bitch form, we'll show you that in a minute. I'll put the true strike stuff and all that fun jazz over here. Spells as well. We won't get every spell, obviously. I don't even think we'll get out of level 2. Well, we might. You probably get like 1 spell from level 3 over here. That's how many spells and abilities you got, guys. It's really kind of quite crazy. I'm going to put maximize over here somewhere. I'll do the same for my extended magic, even though I've already used it for the day. I gotta put in, oh, my denim vermin. Don't forget that one. Gotta show you that trick. Prescient attack, yes please. Serpent friend, just reactivate him and leave him out. You don't have to pull him down here, but he does like to shut himself off, so keep an eye out for that little goober. From there, let's grab a flaming weapon. Where's my enduring blade? Bane, of course. I'm going to grab speed, and I'm going to grab brilliant energy, because there are different levels of screw-uppery here, and I want to explain this to you. So let's actually do spells, so I don't screw anything else up. Here is our light spell. Oh, by the way, you may be wondering why I have 3 spare slots over there. We need to put our True Magus attack bonus, spell DC, and spell pen toggles over there. Now back to spells. Sorry. I like to have my ray spells, of course, as you know. My cantrips, and of course our touch attack. That's going to be important, more than you think. I like to put all my damaging touch attacks on top of each other, from low to high. Then I like going through and putting all the buffs on the left and all the damaging spells that are beside, they're left over on the right. So you'll see buffs, buffs, more buffs, attack, attack, and more attacks. Like, yay. That's a buff. That's a buff. That's an attack. More buffage. Definitely buffage. Attack. Sense vittles. And just like I thought, we got to level 3. So I'm going to put in the summons. Because why not? Okay, now, back to my apology. I wasn't stalling. Don't say I was. So, my apology is this. I got the tooltips wrong on this. So again, I'm constantly going on about how I love Baneblade. Baneblade, of course, still is amazing. We'll talk about that in a minute. Brilliant Energy is better than I had thought. Notice the tooltip where it says that it takes 4 enhancement bonuses. What do they mean by that? So as we go to your class sheet, look at your bonuses here. Eldritch Pool. You see your weapon upgrade is a +1 here. Then it gets to +2, +3, all the way eventually to +5. So when they say they're taking the pluses away, or the bonuses away, that's what they're referring to. So if I were to just activate my arcane weapon enhancement right now, because I'm level 17 or higher, my weapon becomes a +5 weapon. Okay, just a matter that's masterwork. It just becomes a +5 weapon by default. Boom. Now, if I activate this and then click this, instead of being +5, it's +1. Why? What do I mean about the Brilliant Energy losing the 4 points? That's the 4 points we're talking about. So the +5 becomes a +1 maximum bonus. So we lost 4. That's 4 to your swing as well as 4 to your damage output for the weapon you're buffing. That's annoying shit. I can understand why this would be something that's like, what the hell? That's why I was like, this isn't as cool as people think. Because yes, it penetrates armor. It's considered a melee touch attack for your weapon now. Not against undead or constructs or objects, but the point's still the same. By and large, people were touting on the forums how important Brilliant Energy is. And it's good, I just didn't think it was great. I was mistaken, and here's why I was mistaken. If you read this tooltip more correctly, which is what I did wrong, you will see something. See at the very bottom there, just above where it says at 5th level, it says these bonuses can be added to the weapon. That's the +1, the +2, all the way up to the +5. Can be added to the weapon, stacking with the existing weapon enhancement to a maximum of +5. So I misunderstood what this was telling me. So if your weapon is already +5, you can't get it any higher. Well, actually, that's not true. We'll talk about that in a minute. But mostly, it's true. And therefore, clicking this thing won't do you a goddamn bit of good because it's already a +5 weapon. Well, then what do you do? Is this a complete waste of a skill? No. You start doing things like turning on things like fire and frost and shock and speed and keen. Add them all up to +5 because you were going to lose that +5 bonus anyway, right? You might as well have it be a flaming, frosting, shocking, keen weapon of Bane and still have it be a +5 whatever you were wielding, sword, scimitar, whatever. And that's still applicable because you're never getting above that +5. Now, why did I say that that's not true, that you can get above the +5? Well, let me show you. So you can get above it, and here's how you do it. Bane. Remember what Bane does. It takes a point away, so +5 becomes +4. That's your temporary enhancement points we're talking about. Your +5 temporary enhancements go to +4. So this would work fine on a weapon that's already +1. You're still at a +1 and +4 combined. That's +5. That's the maximum you're going to get. However, because it's a Bane weapon now, it gets another +2. This is how you can exceed +5, where it suddenly becomes now +7. +5 and then +2 for it being a Bane weapon. Then it does even more damage again to the target because it's a Bane weapon against all targets. So again, 2d6 more damage per swing. Freaking awesome. But back to my apology. Why then is Brilliant Energy suddenly better than I think? Well, you lose 4 points. If you were going to lose 4 points anyway, because let's say you had a +4 or a +5 weapon, you were going to lose those points anyway. You might as well make it a Brilliant Energy weapon. And here's my point for scimitars now. Scimitars in this game are plentiful, and they're mostly built for Magi. Why do I say that? Because many are +2 weapons, which isn't +4 or +5, I'll grant you. However, the ones that are +2, that have that little runic whatever on them, means that if you cast any melee touch attack through that weapon, it now becomes a +4 weapon. So, our cantrip, which has unlimited uses, we can buff that up, swing the weapon at a +4 swing, of course buff it then with your arcane weapon enhancement as well as Brilliant Energy. Remember, it takes 4 points away from your 5, making it a +1 temporary enhancement to a +4 weapon now, making it the maximum +5 weapon that it can be. And of course it still has the Brilliant Energy component to it. See that? Totally missed that. My bad, guys. Really is. My apologies on that shit. Can't believe I didn't understand what it was telling me. I'm sure I saw the tooltip pop up and I'm like, why is my +5 enhancement a +4 enhancement? What the hell? Oh, whatever. It must be a typo. And nope, it wasn't a typo. It was working as intended. I just wasn't catching on to what it was telling me. That's awesome. And again, so as you start getting, as the point is this, as a Magus, as you start getting a better weapon, more pluses to it, make sure you're paying attention to how many you can get, because you can only get up to a +5 on it from the enhancement from the weapon and additive from your temporary enhancement from this little ability here. If you're going to lose a point, make it fire. Make it anything else that's a 1 point investiture, right? So again, fire or flaming, frost, shock are all 1, keen is 1, speed is 3, ghost touch is 1, brilliant is 4, and bane weirdly is only 1. So again, there's plenty of them that are just 1. And if you have a +5 weapon of whatever and want to buff it, this is useless. The Enduring Blades is still useful. It has nothing to do with the pluses or the minuses, just the duration of the buff and how many points it takes to activate. But, for instance, if let's say I had a +5 weapon, like I said, I could have a flaming, frost, shocking, keen weapon of Bane activated. It's still a +5 weapon, but now it does extra fire damage, extra cold damage, extra shocking damage. It's a keen weapon now, and I have a +2 to the swing thanks to Bane, and I have 2d6 of extra damage thanks to it being Bane. Just saying, that's pretty badass. And I totally missed that shit, guys. And again, I am sorry that I missed that. For those of you that knew better and were probably laughing at me, kudos. You totally deserve to, because I totally missed out on that shit. But again, my apologies. Let's move on. Okay, we've buffed up. You go into any area. Doesn't matter if you're great at stealth or not. You have stealth. You might as well use it. Notice when you're stealthing, you move like a little slowpoke bastard. It's going to be a thing. Just get used to it. Again, skill checks come along. When it's you and the team, if you can do it, you know, scum save it, of course. Don't highlight the whole team and click it, because the best person that can do the check will be the person they send forward. If you want to try to get the XP, click just your character, not the team, and have you click it. Your character will move forward, probably fail miserably and blow up the game, reload your save, and send in someone good. If you see in the trickery check that there's no possible way for you to pass it, or whatever check we're talking about, send in someone that's good. That's fine. But until that time, always try to do it. Again, you can totally do this and never solo the game and still get enough XP that you will out-level your teammates. So feel free to do it either way. But always stealth into an area if you can, leaving the team reasonably behind. Why? So A, you can spot traps. B, you can spot where the bad guys are at. So you can plan where your attack is going to come and where the teammate is going to suddenly flood the room. So for instance, I'm going to pick this trap, or disable this trap. Go around this way, because we already saw there's two bad guys over there. Is there any on this side? Yes, there are. You see that shit? One here, and at least one or two over there. Because there was a giant centipede over here he may have moved over. At least 2 to 3 guys now in the room. So send in the horde. Your team comes in. Not yet. When do you send them in? After you do shit like summoning your pet, or maybe early levels. Hypnotism member is available at level 3, and it's a team friendly, so I can be in it, so can your team, and it won't hurt them one goddamn bit. But it's a big ouch for the bad guys it does affect. Now, it's a full round to cast that shit, so again, you better know that you want to cast it. But if you cast it from stealth and no one's seen you yet, you get a little oomph in the amount of time it takes to cast it. It still takes a full round, but there is no round yet because there's no combat yet, right? So it goes through the motions of casting the spell just as long as it always does. You send in the team after you kick off the spell. I'm not going to do this one because it turns out these centipedes are immune to hypnotism. Kind of annoying. And again, it's a mind-affecting spell. Why is my snake charm ability, whatever, working on these little bastards? I don't know. I assume it's the Tenebris depths, or that tooltip is busted. Whatever. So, if you're going to attack from sneak, and it's level 7, let's say. Remember, you have your pets. Summon the wolves, summon the dogs, summon the lizard. Whichever one you feel will last the longest, or you need more attackers, or just more fodder. Up to you. Remember, they're stronger, more strength, more con, thanks to the level 7 increase for augment summoning. Also, you don't have the extra super, what the hell is it called? It starts with an S. The extra special summoning one, where you get an extra 1 per summons. That won't work at all on the lizard anyway, but for these guys you get an extra wolf or an extra dog. That comes later. Superior summoning. There it is. You'll get it later. But still definitely good to have multiple. So again, feel free to do stuff like this. Remember, it takes a full combat round to cast this shit. So again, find where they are, figure out where you're going to cast your pets. As soon as you start, highlight the rest of the team and march their asses in. Why? Because they'll be like, oh, the team, and they'll start going with them. And by the time the combat has started, guess what? You'll have almost this full round already kicked off.
A solid plan.
What a battle always.
Forwards!
Sometimes they're stupid. They don't attack unless you attack. Not real sure what that's about. But they don't last long, especially early levels. Only 1 round per caster level. Extended versions are viable options. Up to you, but only really extend them if you know you're going to get some use out of them.
Aim carefully.
Just so we can see something here. Again, show you some of the uses of these little bastards. Flanking, +2 bonus to our swing because they had somebody on our team surrounding him. You know, me and someone else. That includes your pets. Definitely worth a damn. From there, I want to show you your vermin ability.
I'm out of sight.
So your vermin ability normally is 4, remember? You summon 4 spider swarms in the Creeping Doom. Because of our superior summoning, you'll see we actually have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one's over here because the table's in the goddamn way.
Attack!
And again, do poisoning damage, apparently con and strength, so it must be more than one kind, so that's pretty badass.
A solid plan.
Again, they're just mean motor scooters. Another tactic, again, perfect example. If I had stuck in here and saw the Nixie, because I didn't, because I wasn't paying attention, plus I knew my dogs were going to attack, but if I were stealthing the area, scoping it out, I would have saw the Nixie, who's clearly a caster. Again, if you have delay poison on you and you're immune to it, I'm immune right now because, again, I'm level 20, but I could have done this. Now, of course, my dogs and them aren't necessarily immune to that shit, but I am. And again, I wouldn't have had to have summoned the dogs. You see the point? So again, battle tactics. Stuff that you can do that's a little bit different than anyone else because of your stealth, because of your invisible, because of your whatever. So again, we have all kinds of tricks that we get to pull because of this shit.
Here.
Now, remember, anytime you can to do a disarm trap or pick a lock or whatever, scum save it. I don't care, so I'm just gonna marshal through this shit, but scum save it so you can get the XP. If you can't get it with buffs or anything else, then feel free to give it to the experts. I want to show you the snake bitch form. Toggle. She likes to scream. Not really sure what that's about. Again, the spider forms, they don't last long. You see, they lasted less than the summoned dogs, and those things only lasted like 2 minutes. So, but this is your snake bitch form. Here's your stats: bonus to strength, penalty to dex, penalty to your swing because of your size, a bonus to your swing because of the extra strength, so it does counter it at least a little. You only get 1 attack. It's a nice strong bite, and as you can see, thanks to power attack and arcane strike, it's actually still doing pretty good damage. Weirdly, if you go over here and it shows you your abilities, it says that your bite should be 2d6 and not 1d8. I don't know why it's 1d8. Feel free to say something to the devs, because I'd rather do 2 to 12 points of damage than 1 to 8 points of damage. But again, it's not game breaking, and again, I don't particularly like the form. You can still cast spells. I'll show you that here in a second. You move faster. A little 10 bonus to your speed. That's kind of badass. Now I can actually run faster than wolves. Armor is going to take a major tanking because of size, because of dex, and because we don't get to wear our armor. This is where I said that make sure to cast mage armor on yourself or have someone else do it. But do it before you change, obviously. And yes, it won't stack with the armor you have on normally, but you can switch back in a heartbeat. So if you forget, just switch back. Cast the spell and then go back in. So again, that's that form. It's not great. It does poison damage with the bite, I should say that. Oh, and there is another ability that shows up. I'm not doing this on purpose, I swear. But this Charming Gaze ability is the only charm in the game that I actually know about. It's got an AoE, an area of effect that you can see here in the circle. Single target shit. I don't know how it really works per se. It says in the tooltip, but I don't care enough to give a damn. But it's there. Just a point of emphasis, right? Again, stealth is slow when you are just stealthing, but if you're invisible stealthing, you move faster. See that? A little more joggy jog to your pep. I'm also going to do Sense Fiddle. So when you do find that jackass, oh look, team can come on in and I can do Stinking Cloud. Or, in my case, since I can do sneak attack damage now, let's do that sneak attack damage now.
Enemy near.
See that beautiful damage there? I just love that spell. 5d6 of force damage, 5d6 of sneak attack damage. Then hit her for the next one. Overcomes the target spell resistance. 5d6 of force damage, 5d6 of sneak attack damage. Did it again. Overcomes spell resistance. 5. You get the idea. Point is, it's awesome. Again, if you're having a hard time hitting or want to make sure that you hit, prescient attack first, then fire it off. If that's not your cup of tea, feel free to do maximize magic and fire it off, so that first 5d6 is always 30. The second one is the random roll for sneak attack damage. That's going to be a thing. But still, all in one spell, that's an amazing amount of damage for a single target. Shit. Easy to hit thanks to prescient attack. Easy to hit, of course, because it's a touch attack. It's just an amazing spell. And again, we get to go continue to attack at the same time. Just, again, never gets old. Always fun. From here, I did want to show you a couple of the other spells. Just to talk about how some of the free spells that they give you.
I failed.
Of course you did. You're a
Path
failure.
is clear.
Alright. Hold up, Slick. He's still invisible? Yeah. And still got sneak attack. Okay. Back to our spell list. Now remember, it takes a while to cast. Won't last forever as far as leveling up process. I'd say probably by the end of the first chapter, maybe a little bit into the second chapter, it'll still be useful, but after that it's rapidly going to fall from favor. Still good and teammate friendly. Level 2, don't forget to put your delay poison on. I don't need to now because I'm immune, but the point is you and or any of your team can be immune for poison for many, many hours, especially if you extended this shit to the point where if you extend it, sometimes it'll still be on you after you take a nap. Remember that. You rest for 8 hours. So if you're level 5 and you put this on someone and you extend it, instead of it being a 5-hour buff, it's a 10-hour buff. You play around for a little bit, realize you were kind of out of spells in the first place, maybe you take a quick knee, come back 8 hours later. You don't need to rebuff that dude. He's still got probably an hour and change still on him. Keep an eye out for that shit. Then, oh, also just as a reminder, when you're wearing your bestest armor, don't forget to use effortless armor. Obvious. From there, Stinking Cloud works beautifully as a poison. Remember, you're immune to it with that spell on you, so could be any of your team. So are your Skeleton Horde. Don't forget that shit. These take a long time to summon. Better to do it from sneak when no one's fighting and the fight hasn't officially begun. It's a good chance to get off those full duration spells. Just saying. From there, again, just to re-emphasize, because a lot of people be like, oh, I know there's going to be bad guys probably in this room. I'll summon them out here. Then we'll open the door. Then we'll run inside. Well, you just wasted a round of combat. Why not just sneak in, leave the team behind you, open the door, sneak in, find a good place to cast them, start the casting, then bring the team in. Combat started, and guess what? Your pets are out. Poof. Time to fight. No waste. Just saying, because they don't last that long. From there, poison, whatever, who cares? Animate dead. If you need it and you need it faster, here's your faster. Immune to poison, I think immune to disease too, and definitely immune to cold, as I've shown. So amazing, amazing spell. Actually, I haven't shown it to you, but the point is I could show it to you. I don't have to show it to you. You just trust me. 5. Hold monster, amazing spell. You don't have to get constricting coils, but it's definitely the upgrade versus this one. And once you get it, you never use that one again, because this one's better. It's at the same level, same everything, same range, same saving throw, same everything, except for this one does damage, this one does not. This is a better spell now. Feel free to grab that. Cloud Kill, of course, you're immune to poison, right? You've been using your delay poison, haven't you? I'm your mother. Listen to me. Put on your poison spray. I'm just kidding. But point is, Cloud Kill's an amazing, as you know, it's cheese to the 10th degree, but you know you love it and it's cool, and a lot of guys are immune to poison, so don't feel bad when you come across that boss. It's just going to kick your ass because you don't give a shit. But again, it's definitely there for a reason, and again, your skeletons could care less. Then transformation. I guess we're being attacked from some nuclear silo. I don't know where the hell that beep's coming from. Transformation, amazing ability. Remember to pre-buff up, because once you turn, you do not get to cast spells anymore. Doesn't mean people can't cast them on you, but that's kind of wasteful. But if this is the one, again, you always keep one in your back pocket, right? This is the one spell that you use all 5 of these except for one, so that when the poop hits the fan and we're out of options, well, I guess I'm just putting out the swords and choppy. That's what transformation's for. Again, other spells, you know the uses of them. This one here, though, just to remind you, different versions depending on if you're good / neutral versus evil. So again, you see the red caps or Berlani Azadas. Electric damage versus my red caps. Again, no reason you don't want those guys, because lightning bolt all over the place is pretty badass, but I have no electric protection, hence the reason for me wanting to be evil for this particular build. And I do love the Soul Leader. As a matter of fact, let's just summon that little sunfish right now, because he looks cool. Sadly, I found out earlier today, I thought he was undead. He looks like he's undead. Doesn't he look like he's undead? He feels like an undead.
A solid plan.
He likes to do wisdom damage, by the way, which you just gotta love that shit. Let's see, where does it show any of that? Summon Soul Leader cause a claw hit. He's got a nice attack bonus with a high dex, so he must have weapon finesse, I'm assuming is what that means. Weapon focus claw, no less. Had a pretty good solid hit on him, too. Did 5 damage, which is kind of lackluster, but whatevs. Fortitude save against difficulty of 19. Again, that's not bad. And he did wisdom damage with that claw. 5 wisdom damage. That's a pretty big ooch. I've seen 1 and 2 and 3 fly off periodically, but never a 5. That's pretty good. But he's mean. He's not undead. I don't understand how he's not undead. Can we actually scan him? Sadly, no. Boo. Boo on you, devs. I want to know what a Summoned Soul Leader is. I have no idea what his official stats are. I mean, obviously we can juxtapose some stuff like his dexterity already, but he's not undead despite all appearances. And I know that because I tried to do a cold spell through him, and the son of a bitch took damage. He does have spell resistance. It's pretty low, but he does have some. And his reflex obviously wasn't good enough to get out of the way of my cold damage, so that kind of sucked. But I thought he was immune. I should probably see if he's immune to the poison cloud. Easiest way to do that is just cast that shit on him and see if he dies. Looks like he's fine. Not even checking him for his ability. And I can stand it because I'm immune to poison, by the way. So, but it's not affecting him at all. So at least Cloud Kill doesn't seem to work on him. I assume that would mean that Stinking Cloud would be useful too. But he doesn't like Cone of Gold. I can tell you that shit right now. I did that the other day on the other video, trying to impress you with my. Because I consider him, by the way, by going evil, I consider him my lieutenant of my undead army. So I kind of touted him as being an undead son of a bitch. And it's because of shit like this. Now see, this time he didn't take damage. What the hell, man? This is so weird. He took damage earlier today. I did a video. He took like a shit ton of cold damage. Now I didn't do anything to him. I don't understand that shit. So again, he's clearly glitchy. But is he undead? Is he not? I can't tell you. He feels like he should be undead, and therefore he should be immune to all the stuff that your skeletons are immune to. That should be cold, poisons, disease. But I hit him earlier today, I shit you not, with a Cone of Cold, and it ravaged his ass. And I'm like, well, oopsies. And now he's immune to it again. So I don't understand it. But again, he's definitely fun to have. You want him on the party. He's definitely cool. From there, I think that's it. There's nothing else I really want to show you. I should show you, I suppose, the bite. It's kind of annoying. Okay, I guess I'll do it. Fuck. I hate this thing. Alright, so here's your toggle for... I need to drag it down here, too, by the way, because it likes to shut itself off. It's annoying as hell. So, you almost need 4 guys in a big hogging circle to pull the shit off. Why do I say that? Because these doofuses, if I kill them... 1, 2, 3... There's the bite of the 4th swing. Saw the big rocking motion? That's the bite attack. So that's my chance to show it to you. Here you go. After all your normal attacks are done, if there's still someone within range with that toggle on, you'll rock back and forth and bite. Notice it's a power attack still works, true magus bonus works, strength bonus still works, and your base attack bonus, the full base attack bonus counts. It's a secondary weapon. I don't know that there's a way to make that go away. And as such, there's a -5 penalty to the swing. So early on, it's going to be garbage anyway. When it does land, you'll be like, oh, okay. When it doesn't, you'll be like, yeah, like typical. So that's why I'm not a big fan. It did hit, and it will do poison damage. In my case, I did the charisma. -1 charisma. Take that, you ugly bastard.
The path is clear.
But, like I said, it likes to shut itself off. So you have to reactivate all the flipping time. It's really, really annoying. I don't know why it does that. Maybe it's only for one combat and it shuts itself off, or if it's one round and it shuts itself off, because everything dies so quick in these early maps. I can't really tell you, but it is annoying to have to constantly reapply the damn thing. Up to you if it's worth even clicking on. One final reminder. and you probably already know this, but because you're brick stupid when it comes, not you, your character is brick stupid because of your no knowledge and no lore. Remember, you need at least 1 point in any of them to unlock any of them. So this +1 is non-existent. They're grayed out for a reason. They should just put big X's on them because you don't have them. You can't do any of these checks. Because of that, especially because of Knowledge Arcana, notice any magic item we have, unless we just happen to know what it is, we don't know what it is. They're unidentified like all the goddamn time. So as a quick warning to you, never put on shit that you don't know what it is. Go to the vendor, they'll tell you what it is. They don't even charge you for it. He says, hey, that's a cool whatchamajiggy, I'll give you 5. Fuck off, that shit's mine. But just keep it, go to it. When you have a team with you, you won't have this problem. Someone else will identify it for you. But the point is, don't put on shit, because there is cursed shit in this game, and trust me, you'll be like, oh, I know what that is. That's a helmet of blah blah. And yes, this is clearly a cloak of resistance +1. Watch your fortitude reflex and we'll go up 1. See that? It's still unidentified. So again, doesn't do you any real good to put it on because it's still not something you know about. You see the buffs and you can kind of figure it out. But again, if it was cursed, I can't remove it now. You have to do a remove curse spell, and you probably don't have a remove curse spell, do you? No, you don't. See? Same with my short bow here. I could tell you what it does for damage because of the fact that it's giving me the buff. And clearly it's doing okay for itself. So we got clearly a +1 swing, so it's a composite short bow +1 more likely than not. But again, I don't know until someone officially tells me. I'll get the bonuses and penalties from it just like any other magic item. So it's kind of cool that it does it. At least did that, I will say. But having said that, though, it's really kind of annoying. Nothing I can do about it. Again, if you get that potion of +2 to everything and it does give you those skills, in my opinion, I'd probably dump all the points into Knowledge Arcana, just because I feel like a dumbass for not having anything in there. But again, up to you. If you want to put 1 in there and then 9 into athletics, rock it. Go ahead, man. I don't care. By and large, though, you're pretty happy with your build. You have plenty of stealth thanks to your invisibility potions and wands and stuff. Again, maximize magic for some serious fun. Simple and obvious tricks for boss killing is when you know where they're at and they're really tough. Sirocco in the spots, and then in that same exact spot you cast that goddamn obsidian flow. Don't run into it, even if your team runs into it. As much as I hate to say it, you're the special one here, right? You have to survive the fight. If they're dumb enough to run into it and die, as long as everything else dies, I guess I'm okay with it, because hey guys, I'll see you when I resurrect you back in town, I guess. Morons. But if you can control them, feel free to do so. Solo, though, this is a winning combo. Sirocco, Obsidian Flow, Sirocco, Tar Pool, Sirocco, Samoroko, Sirocco, some more, and just stand in the corner, watch them all run towards you, and you're just flooding the area, and you're just stationary, watching them creep and crawl through the Obsidian Flow, which is hard for them to walk through, or the Tar Pool, which slows them down, and they just constantly get bombarded by 1, 2, or more castings of Sirocco. Unless they happen to be fire immune, they're gonna flip and die. It's an amazing combo. Lightly. And you get it, I don't want to say early, but you get it early enough that it's not like the end of the game. So, again, definitely good combo. It takes a while for it to wear off, though. If you don't have any greater dispel magic or dispel magic on your beck and call, you gotta teleport around it or run around it, wait for it to break down, rest, come back, you know, whatever. But by and large, this is a fun build. I think you guys will enjoy it. Sorry the video was so long, but there's a lot to talk about. Now I'm very excited about this one because, quite frankly, for a non-Cornigan Smash build and a non-Raycaster build, for a strength-based character that wanted to be just a little bit of a conjurer, he turned out pretty good. I mean, quite frankly, he is pretty badass. I want to see if I have enough to sell this doofus so I can get you a scimitar +1 so I can prove you my points. You can have that. See, now he identifies everything. Here's the tight helmets. Adamantine chainmail would be something I'd probably want to keep. Composite shortbow +1 like I thought. Cloak of resistance +1 like I thought. And again, definitely better armor, but might as well sell it. Well, actually, what's that one? Yeah. I want to keep the composite. Off for the junk. tridents for some reason. What the hell is that about? What else? Have my booze. Okay. Ooh, I got a lot of money. Where's my scimitar? Oh, name. Scimitar +1. Just so I can show you that +1, +4, +5 trick that I was talking about earlier. Get yourself any kind of +1 weapon really would work. But since we're a scimitar guy, you know you want to do the one you're going to actually wield. Okay, good enough. So, again, just to emphasize something here. Here's our +1 weapon. Get your bow in there, buddy. Again, you want a composite longbow masterwork version, of course, if at all possible, early on for that kiting maneuver. Really, really good damage thanks to your high strength. Yes, it's higher than it is at level 3, but it's not the point. You still get a +4 your damage. Scimitar +1 though, right? Watch what happens when I activate. First, it just bugs me, I'm sorry. Let's activate this. Doesn't even have to be Enduring Blade. Just the bonus. Make sure nothing else is on. Okay, so just the bonus to your damage. Should be +5, right? Pause it. Don't forget to put Arcane Strike back on always. Inventory, look at your weapon. See how it says +1, +4, total +5, right? So I've just wasted a point for no good reason. So what do you do, Brothermutant? Well, let me tell you. You activate anything else that's a +1 penalty. Flaming is a -1, or sorry, -1 penalty. Flaming is a -1, so is your Frost or your Shock. So is Keen. Speed's a 3, so not that one. Ghost Touch is 1. This one's a 4. Enduring Blade has no penalty. Has nothing to do with penalties. Bane is 1. So if I were smart, I'd do Bane and then buff it again. Shut that back off. Now look at it. It's still a +4, but it's a Bane +4. Plus the 1 enhancement from the magical weapon to begin with, so it's still magic +5 total. Then it's Bane, which remember gives you another +2. That's +7 to your swing now instead of +5. And +2d6 extra damage because everything's a Bane opponent to you. So again, more damage. That's why you do this. So always keep track of how much pluses you're on your weapon so you know which and what to add and subtract and keep on there so that you're getting the most bang for your buck. Okay? I know that sounds weird, guys, but it's definitely worth doing. It gets fiddly, you get used to it in my opinion, and it's definitely something that I can't believe it never dawned on me, because that's really nice. Again, a +3 weapon, you're only getting a +2 bonus, so you can subtract 3 points from it, which means for a +3 weapon I could slap on something like Speed, because that's a -3. So basically take whatever the magical weapon bonus is and subtract that many points in whatever you click on here. So if it's +3, here's a -3. If it's a +2, pick 2 things that add up to -2. It's very simple when you think of it that way. If it's a +5 weapon, oh baby, Brilliant Energy, and then something else that's another -1. So like Bane and Brilliant Energy is awesome. Could have been Ghost Touch and Brilliant Energy. It could have been Keen and Brilliant Energy. You get the idea. All kinds of potential there. And again, those runic scimitars, and there's more weapons that are runic than that, but the mage rune ones that are on the scimitars that I know of for sure, they're +2 weapons that when you channel any touch attack through it, including your cantrip, the +2 enchantment becomes a +4 enchantment for that combat round only. So if you just leave this on autopilot like that and leave these guys on, right, just cast your touch of fatigue through your weapon and swing, 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 you're at a +4 swing to that weapon now, which means you can afford to dip into the Brilliant Energy category and not feel like you've screwed yourself at all. Totally my bad. Again, complete apologies. So sorry, guys, for screwing that up. Hopefully I didn't screw anyone over on that ignorance. But again, you'll find the best gear for yourself. Whether heavy armor is your favorite is up to you. Again, there's plenty of reasons that a breastplate is awesome. You'll have plenty of decks. So long as you're not really losing out on AC, what do you care that it's the medium version, even though you could be wearing the full version? Again, if you got the decks that makes you happy and the armor that makes you happy, be happy, is my logic on that. From here, just as a reminder also, Mage armor potions are your friend. They last for an hour for you. And anyone else except for alchemists or vivisectionists or anyone that's an alchemy class that has the extend potion or the expanded potion, or whatever the hell it's called, feat. Those ones are maze balls. But reason for this is to use it. See how you don't have the +4. You only have the armor +6 from breastplate, or +9 from plate mail, whatever you're wearing. But you still have the buff on you. The reason that's important is because when you go she-bitch form, oops, wrong thing. Forgot I swapped it. When you go she-bitch form and look at your stats, remember, you still have mage armor on, so you still get your +4. Just wanted to show it to you to prove it to you. Same for, of course, for Dragonkind. Again, easy enough to change back. See that your armor is going to come back to breastplate +6 or whatever armor you're wearing, obviously. If you go Dragonkind, it's more of the same. So just drag and change. But again, you can still cast spells, you can still do all your stuff in either of these forms, Dragonkind form or the she-bitch form. And again, just to show you, shield, mage armor, not your breastplate, but mage armor is still affecting your character. Natural armor from the Dragonkind form stacks with the natural armor enhancement from your snakeskin form, or ability, excuse me. No penalties. Strength is up, con is up. You do have a size penalty? No, you are a normal size. That's bullshit. But you are a normal size, so you have no penalties to your swing and no penalties to your dex, or your armor class, excuse me. So, rock on dragon form. Just saying. Some of us are just cooler than others. But she-bitch form, again, it's probably more cool, again, like I said, for the sorcerer. But again, the fact that we have multiple attacks still in dragon form is, to me, the cool part. And again, in both forms, you can still cast spells and have all your feats. Blah, blah, blah. So, you know, have fun. You will have fun. Know if you, and I should just show this to you before we finish. Know if you try to go she-bitch form while in dragon form, you actually cancel dragon form. And you don't change. So you have to shut it off and turn it on again to change. So if you ever want to switch to this for, I don't know, scare tactic reasons, that's okay. Again, don't forget you have your Charming Gaze ability. I don't use it. I'll read up on it here in a little bit. It won't tell you much because you can't right-click it and read the tooltip, so I don't know how to make the whole tooltip show up. Again, she's probably more fun for the sorcerer than it would be for the magus, obviously. But with that, that's everything I really want to show you guys. Again, this is going to be a fun build for you. Teammate friendly. You're not going to solo forever, but you can solo a little bit. I think you'll enjoy it. But with that, my name is Brothermutant. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.